melt and life gets back to normal for areas that are not used to this kind of winter weather.
That's Fox meteorologist Janice Dean. America's listening to Fox News.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
U.S. Navy Lieutenant Bradley Allen Foster's story is one of valor and selflessness. Bradley underwent air and combat training and was later awarded the National Defense Service Medal. Tragically, Bradley's promising life was cut short by a helicopter crash off the coast of San Diego, California. Tunnel to Towers provided his family with a mortgage-free home in his honor. Show your support for heroes like Bradley and their families. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. That's T2T.org.
The Morning Xtra, only on Xtra 106.3.
Morning, y'all. Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Xtra. Thank you for being here. 404-741-1230 at Xtra 106.3 across the social media platforms. Somebody turn on the heat. Somebody tell Canada they left their back door open. The weather, well, has just been not peachy.
How many cars got abandoned yesterday? Because we were hearing word in Forsyth County that people that were actually in town were just pulling their cars over and walking.
Yeah, I saw a few, especially down like Henry County, down that area, because everything was like south and east, like north of the city, really didn't get anything kind of west.
Yeah, like I-85 south and like Coweta County was where you're seeing a whole mess.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so I would imagine a few. I saw a shot of I-85 where things got a little shaky and people were slipping and sliding everywhere, but this has got to stop.
It's got to stop.
Spring.
Must. It's ready. We're ready for spring.
It must.
Yeah, I didn't get a flake yesterday.
No,
out
we didn't
in
either.
Cherokee, so we just kind of sat back. We were hoping for it. I always love to see the snow.
Not me. Ugh.
But this was a mess at the airport for a little bit. I know they had a lot of problems there, and we're not ready for any kind of snow. We should just have sun all the time.
It's not welcome.
Well, you need to call Aunt Peg, and you need to explain to her. In Trump's America, it took 48 hours to fix global warming.
I know. Yeah. I saw that tweet, too.
48 hours. The salad day is going.
That's right, dude. He has been busy, though. Dang. I mean, dude has been busy. My favorite thing so far, I believe, and if y'all throw something that I just didn't catch out there.
There's so much.
I know, that's what I'm saying. There's so much. That's what I'm saying. Throw whatever you got. But my favorite is that we're not flying any flag except the American flag in any government agency, any government offices. All that bull crap has got to go. The American flag, that's what belongs, and that's it. That's it. And I'm very delighted with that, and that's my favorite thing that I've seen so far.
Yeah, look, I love that one. There's a lot that I love. I love the parting of the J6ers. It's driven everybody absolutely insane, which has been fun. I love everything that we've done so far and what he's doing, and a lot of the goals that he expects to accomplish over the next 4 years have all been written down, what he expects, and then meeting with everybody yesterday saying, here's what we're doing. And I expect that everybody's going to be on board. If you're not on board, tell me why now. There are things that are going to not be a fight. For instance, I think U.S. flags at U.S. installations, I don't think that's a fight. I think that's pretty clear. I just think that's a very simple decision that the commander-in-chief has made, and that's how it's going to be.
But the American people, I believe, care about. It's not a fight, but it's just something that...
But like I said, but then there's things that you realize are going to be fights. The ending of birthright citizenship for illegal aliens, for people that are legally here. That's going to be a battle. And so I like that.
Court battle.
I like that we are going down a road where all of it is rolled out right now, because the communist wants to fight one thing at a time. You're flooding the zone. Which one do you want to play with first? You want to still complain that the federal government has decided there's only two genders? Again, not a fight. Yeah. But yet, they're sitting back going, which one do we fight first? And then they turn loose all these J6ers on us. Which one do we fight first?
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? And then $500 billion for AI research, which is my sweet wife is, she just technology is not her thing. She just don't care about technology. She does no social media. Like it was a fight to get her to take an iPhone.
Yeah.
She said, I don't want it. I just want something plain and simple. I don't want it all.
Just something to call
She
you
just
guys.
don't care about that stuff.
My gosh,
And
I
she
wish
was-
I had that.
She was asking me about the whole AI thing, and she was like, what do you think about all this? And I was like, well, either you do it or you get left behind, and the Chinese will. And then this is like a race for the nuclear bomb again.
Sure.
This is like the next. But then I tried to explain to her, like, technology is so, I know it sounds expensive, and it is in many ways, but technology is not like the nuclear bomb because everybody can access it. Not everybody could have accessed a nuclear bomb at any point. Everybody can access technology, and there's people that will use technology for horrible things. And I said, we have to win this race, no matter what it takes, no matter how much it takes, and it's one that we can't lose because it'll be just like the nuclear bomb. And she still didn't get it, and I probably didn't explain it all that well, but I just tried to stress the importance because I think so many people are like, what is this all about?
Yeah.
Because it's like all of a sudden it's like a mad dash.
Right. The AI thing is going to be very important. I love that he brought together all the tech billionaires to talk about this, to figure out the best way, and to really get together to beat China in the race to really own AI or perfect AI. We're going to do it better than anybody else. We have some of the smartest leaders in the world when it comes to the tech industry, and they're going to get it done, and it's all about protecting us. And, we have the Space Force. That was a completely new and different thing. This is the next step in, defending ourselves against any of these kind of orbs that we're seeing in New Jersey or everywhere else. They're all being run by AI.
I think it's important if you want to make it digestible for people. People recognize that the assembly line, what it did for this country and how it created thousands of jobs. The automotive industry created thousands of jobs. The tech boom of the 1990s and the growth of the World Wide Web, thousands, millions, created millions everywhere. This is what AI is representing in the next 10 years. It's the next big boom. And so to have $500 billion that have been pledged towards it, by the way, not taxpayer money. This is independent industry that has said, here's what we're going to do with the support of the American government.
And liberals, too. Those men are not conservatives.
No, that is this next evolution where we're going to see major growth. And where it takes us, we're going to find out. But it's going to be everything from what you have sitting in your house all the way to your top-end defense in this country.
That's exactly right. And everything in between, right?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the other bills that I loved yesterday that he signed was the Ending Illegal Discrimination and Restoring Merit-Based Opportunity bill. And it was well written. I loved reading. Well, it's not even a bill. It's just an order. But the executive order says that this is to defend the civil right protections that we signed in 1964 in the Civil Rights Act. And then it goes on to talk about how this is supposed to protect everybody, no matter their race, their sex, their religion. And then talks about the federal government, major corporations, institutions, medical industries using and demeaning other races like white, sex-based preferences, and religion, and they do it under the guise of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So it talks about how they violate the Civil Rights Act by keeping certain groups out because they want to hire only these groups. I thought it was a really well-written executive order.
All federal employees in DEI roles have to be put on paid leave. This was yesterday. By tomorrow at 5, meaning today.
Today, yeah.
This is unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
They're taking all the crap that Americans are tired of, that Americans see as being taken advantage of, and they're throwing it up and shooting it like target practice.
There is a massive rejection going on of the globalist communist theory.
That's it.
And
Yep.
DEI is disguised. Essentially, it's just communism in a different form. That's all it's ever been. So to see all these offices, and I know right now the idea has been, whether you're a Harley Davidson, a Costco, Delta, how many of these companies will divest themselves of DEI thoughts? It's nice to see your government doing it. That is that next wave of how many companies are going to say, yeah, you're right, that was communist. It's not popular. We're not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
I saw this lady's tweet. Listen to this here. I'm in a group with federal employees who is married to a federal employee. She's freaking out because they just had a baby, and neither can work from home anymore. And her tweet
called
goes,
daycare, baby.
Yeah, welcome to the real world, lady. Most Americans weren't treated like these feds. Most people either worked and sent their kids to a daycare, or one parent stayed home. That's just real life. They've been living in this fantasy land, and they're angry because the bubble's been burst, and now they have to come back down to reality. And they're like, well, we're above that.
For the first 11 years of my daughter, now 14, both parents worked out of the home. This is something that regular parents manage all the time. It wasn't until the last 3 years my wife changed jobs, changed careers. Suddenly it was from home, and it did offer a lot of flexibility. But that wasn't something that was just like, oh, you get this without a problem.
You're right. You know? It's awarded to you.
Here you go.
Like an extra man on burger time.
Everybody gets to stay home.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, if you want to have production within the federal government especially, because if you've been around federal employees, I would say an overwhelming of them, solid people. But if you don't want to be solid, the best place to hide out is the federal government. You can just stay on Pornhub all day, order in food and hang out. No, by the way, I'll get around to getting that stuff in.
Yeah, no, thank you. I want no part of it.
I don't have to feed your addiction any longer. Now you got to show up to the office. Stop touching yourself. All right, now you're going to have to act like an adult for a while.
It's 6:13, Rhino, and he hit that.
They got it.
What do you think that they're doing at home?
I know, and I don't need to know.
And it's and the problem is, it's your money.
I know.
It's your money. So we're asking, as you're talking about these people on this thread that are pointing out how this is going to be so difficult for us, now you have to adult.
Yeah. Be a grown-up. Sorry.
Be a grown-up.
Like everybody.
Like everybody else.
Like every freaking body else.
I'm going to try and work from home tomorrow.
Yeah. but there's a difference in once in a while.
6 a.m. We're here.
Yeah.
There's adulting.
There's a difference in once in a while. And I'm not ever going back to the office again. And if you require me to, I will sue you.
If you make me, you're a fascist.
And those unions, those federal unions, are part of their. They're suing. And that does nothing more than piss the American people off because it's reflective of what they voted against.
I don't know how many people are up right now driving around listening to us, going to work. I mean, they're doing what they do every single day, and some of them may not even like their job. Some of them may enjoy it, but they do what they need to do to take care of their family in any way. It's called merit, and you work based on that merit. The harder you work, the better things will be for you, obviously, and that's just the way it's going to have to work for people. No more handouts. The reason that you're all so spoiled and like this is because either your parents or someone else has coddled you throughout your entire life to make you think that you're more worthy than anybody else, that you don't need to go into the office, that you should be able to do whatever you want. That's not the way this works. This is a team effort. It's in America that we all work hard to keep our border secure, the freedoms that we have here. And guess what? You got to be a part of it. If you don't want to work, that's fine, but you're not going to live off of us anymore.
Well, COVID was such an expansion of extremes. And the idea of, okay, you don't have to go to work. Well, we'll do it for 2 weeks. Well, then how about 2 months? Well, then how about 2 years?
How about 2 forever?
And it just became part of the belief system within the federal government that, well, you don't really have to be in an office. It's fine. Okay? Now, when you start seeing some of the productivity and you start seeing some of the people that are looking around going, why is my taxpayer money not going as far as it used to? Because people aren't working as hard as they used to be.
That's right. They're giving you about 30%, maybe.
So demand they come back in. And by the way, we shouldn't be paying for office space that's not being used.
Exactly right.
Waste.
Let's shrink the government. Let's get rid of some of them buildings. I'm in favor of all of it. I think
if you want to tell me we're getting rid of millions and billions of dollars in installations and you stay at home, all right, that might be a benefit to the taxpayer. But as it now stands, my money is what's keeping those buildings heated and cooled.
That's right.
And nobody in them.
That's right. Waste of time, waste of money. Like, my thing is, let's shrink the government, get rid of some of those people and some of the buildings.
It's going to happen on its own.
I know, right? It's natural. It's just natural. It has to happen. I mean, can you imagine? I don't know. Let's just take Diggy Broadcasting. And here at Extra and our sister station, The Fan, let's say that David Dickey, the man, and he and his family own this company, that on-up center downstairs that used to be there, that we used to do some shows from, they've changed it. Let's say they're like, you know what, I think we're going to get that thing back. And they went and rented it, and they went and paid for it, and it sat empty. And they kept paying for it, and it kept sitting empty. At some point, somebody maybe one of David and his brothers would be like, you know what?
Maybe we shouldn't have that.
Maybe we ain't doing nothing with this thing. We're not doing anything with it. We're wasting a whole lot of money. Maybe let's just cut this thing loose. We ain't gonna use it.
Yeah.
Like that's what common sense does, right?
Sure.
I'm not saying you can't go down and think, hey man, we have an idea, let's rent it. And then when it doesn't come to fruition, you have to go, man, all right, let's let it go. It was a poor decision. We wasted X amount of money. The federal government never does that.
No.
There's no self-reflection. There's no, hey, maybe we should do this because it will save us some money. It'll save the taxpayer some money. They're like, let's just keep this, like Lo said, this building heated and cooled all summer, all winter, and not a soul. The only thing running through them halls is dust bunnies.
Yeah, it makes no sense. And here you talk about homeless veterans. Here you talk about the homeless and what you want to help, or even the migrants. But yet you put them up in hotels and spend even more money than these empty buildings that we have everywhere, and especially with the federal government and the waste that we have. It's time to clean this up, and that's why DOGE is going to be so important. If they can get things going, if they can get all the legislation they need passed, we should be able to clean this up, cut our spending. We still have to hold them accountable, all of them, Republicans and Democrats.
Yes,
$2.5 trillion worth of cuts. Where are they? Why are they not out there yet? Let's start seeing them start to make their way through the House and then up through the Senate, and then let's get all this done as soon as possible.
We were pretty successful when we had our spending in order in 2018, 2019. COVID made everything ramp up. Suddenly you spend another $2 trillion, and then that became the baseline. What everyone is looking for right now that's on our side is, what kind of expansion did you have that now makes the current baseline into $2 extra trillion more a year? That's all we're basically pointing out. How can we not get back to 2019 spending levels when we were a very successful country?
Yes, that's where we need to be. Cut. I'm a fan of cutting it all as much as I can. Even the stuff that we may need, let's cut some of that too. Let's cut the fat off of every freaking thing. Speaking of DOGE, real quick, that whole Vivek Ramaswamy leaving thing is odd. He's not leaving to go run for governor 2 years out. There's something going on there. I don't know what it is, but there's something's happening there.
That's not necessarily true. I mean, everybody kind of announces what you think. Yeah, well, just like, Chris Carr is running 2 years out. I think a lot of people start their campaigning. You got to start building your PACs, your funds. You got to start building a entire team, and you've got 2 years to do this. This is the new normal for us. I know we're not used to seeing 2 year out elections, but that's become more common to raise money and do that. Was he forced out? Maybe there could be some stuff behind the scenes that may be there, but I think they realize, hey, we got a strong chance of winning Ohio with a very conservative person. We got to get Mike out of there. He's not good for the MAGA movement. Let's get him in there right now. I believe that stuff. I believe that. I think that's what the strategy really is.
I think a lot of it came down to, was he going to end up with the senatorial seat of J.D. Vance? And when that did not occur, when the governor decided to go a different direction, it now turned into, well, I'm going to go be governor.
I'm telling you, there's something else, though.
Sure, probably.
There's something else. I can't find it.
But where can you have the most influence?
Sure, no, all those things are true. What you're saying,
the most influence is in
DOGE.
DOGE is a nice thing to suggest spending to Congress. It ain't governor.
Yeah. No, what both of you are saying all is correct. I believe all that, too. But there's just something, I don't know. I just get this feeling there's something.
Because in DOGE, I get to make suggestions. As governor, I get to help enforce and make policy.
Get it done.
Yeah, so I don't know what it is. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe
I'm power hungry.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I think they
like Pac-Man.
They need to build him a record to run on. This is the way to go.
I think that's a fair point. I think all that's included in there. There's something else, though. And I may never know. And my gut may be completely wrong.
Well, if it's the government, they're never going to let you know anything anyway. You know that.
That's exactly right. Anyway, Daddy's back. We'll continue the conversation next on Extra 106.3. Glad that you're here. 404-741-1230 and at Extra 106.3 across the social media platforms.
To me, the big story of this year was CBS, ABC, NBC, CNN hiding the sad decline of Joe Biden.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
All right, well, the snowstorm yesterday was, I guess not that big of a deal, but we did face one the other day, and a lot of people got stuck. So Are you prepared? Even a little snow emergency in the South can turn into a big emergency real quick. We've seen it happen many times. But that's not the only kind of emergency I'm talking about. We could be talking about hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, or even a zombie apocalypse. Are you ready? Is your family safe? Are they prepared? If not, I've got the place for you. Rhino here for my friends over at True Prep in Marietta on Cobb Parkway, a locally owned and operated company. Matt and Joey, both Georgia Tech graduates, wanted to do something that they knew would help the people of their neighborhoods. That's the important part about having a locally owned and operated company like True Prep. Not only is it locally owned and operated, but it's also something that you need. The gift of preparedness, and that's what they give to you every day there. Whether you want to go and buy heirloom seeds or books about prepping and getting ready for any kind of emergency, whether you need solar panels, first aid kits, firearms, firearm accessories, ammo, water filtration, or even freeze-dried food. They have everything you need. You can do it yourself with the freeze-dried food, or you can buy it prepackaged. This is your one-stop shop. You gotta go check out their amazing location in Marietta on Cobb Parkway. They even have a great area in the back where they hold all their amazing workshops, like their Intro to Emergency Preparedness. So if you're new to this and you don't know where to start, they even have workshops to help you. Maybe you just want to start small. Maybe a bug out bag, so that in case of an emergency, you need to get out of the city of Atlanta or get out of where you are right now. This is a great opportunity to go find one of their amazing workshops on putting together a bug out bag, or just walk in there and put it together yourself. True Prep in Marietta on Cobb Parkway. Go online, check out all their great workshops at trueprep.com. That's TRU prep.com. Prepare today for a worry-free tomorrow with our friends over at True Prep.
Hi, my name is Steve from Marietta, and we hired ATL Turf Co. to build our dream backyard golf setup. They installed a large 4-hole putting green, a sand bunker, a short game area, and did a full conversion to artificial grass around the pool with decorative retaining walls. ATL Turf Co. was really creative. They were efficient. The installation was a breeze. Price was completely reasonable, and I definitely appreciated their communication throughout the project. I would definitely recommend ATL Turf Co. to anybody thinking about doing a backyard makeover. You can check them out online right now at atlturfco.com.
Hey, it's a Kimmer. Okay, you're driving along. Suddenly you hear that horrible sound of metal and crunching. It's an accident. Even if it's a little minor fender bender, man, that could be a nightmare. First, obviously, take care of yourself. But before you make a deal with an insurance company or anybody else, call David Van Sant with Van Sant Law. You know why? Because he used to work for the insurance company, so he knows how to get the right settlement and right away. Van Sant Law. Don't forget, if you don't get paid, they don't get paid. Protecting your interests. Insurance is great, but it's complicated. 855-GA-INJURY or vansantlaw.com.
Are you tired of dealing with drafty, inefficient windows? Do you have certain rooms in the house that you can't keep cool in the summer or warm in the winter? Hi, I'm Dan Watkins with All Four Seasons Garage Entry Doors and Windows. It's time to upgrade these old windows. Replace them with double pane, beautiful, energy-efficient windows. Your new windows will help you regulate a perfect temperature throughout your house. Start saving big money on your energy bills and improve the curb appeal of your home. Give us a call today at 770-517-7078.
For half a century, glyphosate has affordably and effectively protected Georgia farmers' crops from invasive weeds. Without it, the impact would be felt beyond the fields, hitting Americans where it hurts, our wallets. That's why the Modern Ag Alliance advocates for farmers' continued access to essential crop protection tools so food prices don't rise even more. Get the facts at controlweedsnotfarming.com. Paid for by the Modern Ag Alliance in support of Georgia farmers.
Shooting drills. A coach who knows the game can teach their team how to improve. But one who genuinely cares about each player.
You have what it takes. We got this.
Can inspire them to win. At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking. Because when you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Start feeling unstoppable. Visit truist.com/care. Truist Bank, member FDIC, leading based on top 10 U.S. commercial bank.
Stop dreaming. Start driving. Get the gift that keeps on giving with the RBM of Atlanta Baby It's Cold Outside sales event, exclusively at RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs. Each of our certified pre-owned vehicles undergoes an exhaustive process of analysis, inspection, and reconditioning until it meets the uncompromising standards of RBM of Atlanta and Mercedes-Benz. For a limited time, get financing from as low as 3.49% APR. In addition, you'll receive unlimited confidence with Mercedes-Benz's unlimited mileage coverage warranty, delivering continued assurance for up to 7 years. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details and see how to qualify. We'd love to welcome you to the RBM of Atlanta family. Not all offers apply to all vehicles, and special financing available to qualified customers exclusively from Mercedes-Benz Financial Services through January 31st, 2025. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this and other exciting offers. Visit us at rbmofatlanta.com or call 770-390-0700 for details.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Good morning. Here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Wednesday, January 22nd. Former Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms is no longer in her position after President Donald J. Trump announced his administration would remove 1,000 appointees from the Biden era. Bottoms subsequently announced her resignation from President Biden's Export Council on January 4th, with her departure taking effect on January 20th, the day of the presidential inauguration. And the Georgia Bureau of Investigation has arrested a former Towns County deputy for allegedly making false reports after claiming he was shot during a traffic stop. 26-year-old Austin Bradburn reported that a driver grabbed his gun during a brief struggle, resulting in 7 shots being fired, 2 of which struck him. The GBI has not specified which parts of Bradburn's account were false. The alleged shooter has not been identified. A GoFundMe campaign launched to support Bradburn's recovery has since stopped accepting donations. With your headlines, Scott Rhino, Xtra 106.3.
Daddy's back in town. Daddy is going to lay down the law. Daddy's going to put things right and make things right, make people act right. And that's your Theo Vaughn. Did y'all see Theo Vaughn?
I saw him break a chair.
Out of his chair at the inauguration. He says...
He's so much fun.
Dude, I love him. Love him. I
mean, he's an idiot.
Complete.
But he's a very lovable idiot.
Absolutely. He said somebody had tweeted out the video because the Paul kids, Jake and whatever that other Logan filmed.
Yeah, Jake and Logan Paul.
Yeah, so they filmed it knowing what was coming and said that Theo Vaughn had accidentally, and Theo is a comedian, does a podcast if you're not familiar with him.
By the way, who helped get Trump elected just by having him on his podcast.
That's correct.
He was brought up yesterday by Trump.
Which is so cool. Theo, they say, accidentally fell backwards, broke his chair while attending the inauguration of Donald Trump at the Capitol with Logan Paul and Jake Paul. And Theo quote tweets this and says, "Wasn't an accident. Paul kids thought it'd be funny to mess with a chair. There's a time and a place, you know." Like, he's the guy, the goofiest guy in the whole room is scolding people for not acting right.
Oh, that's funny because, again, to see the video and you see Theo Vaughn's chair basically bust apart.
That's so fantastic.
So great. It is. It's
it was good. Like, it's a plus in the end.
Diddy's back, and Theo Vaughn is the enforcer of Diddy's new rules, acting right in the. And here's another thing. And Rhino and I talked about this early this morning, like 5:30. The fact that John Fetterman rolled up into the inauguration in some basketball shorts and a hoodie. So on brand.
I love it. I don't care.
No, I don't care either.
I loved it.
It was just on brand for him.
There are reports that you are going to have one Democratic senator flip to the Republican Party. And that's one of them.
The rumor is it's him. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the reality is he, ran as a populist, and maybe he is a populist. He is a man of the people, and it looks like he is common sense wise, looking for what's best for the country, number one, and number two, the constituents that voted him in. I don't care what you wear in there. I understand the respect. I probably would wear overalls and a jacket at least.
That's what my grandpa used to do at church.
Yeah, but the reality of it is this. He's there to do a job. He's not there for money. He's not there to look good. He's not there for fame. He's there to continue down the path of saying, hey, this is what I think my people want. He may be wrong in a lot of the things, and I don't agree with a lot of the things that he believes, but I'm okay with you being a populist like that.
I do think there's almost like Theo's saying, there's a time and a place. I wear my Sunday best to church. Do I think that the good Lord's going to care what I wear to church? No, I don't. It wouldn't matter if I came in there and tore up jeans and or whatever. It wouldn't matter. It's to show respect to the place that I'm going. That's the only thing I bring. Do I think less of him? No. But I'm just saying how I think it probably should have been handled. I mean, I have no ill will toward John Fetterman. I don't agree with him about halftime. The other half, it's fine. If he flips to the Republican Party, good. But I just think there is some decorum that you should have. You wear your dress when you're military. You wear your dress blues to events like that. It's just etiquette. That's all.
Sure. But look at how the wind is blowing. Leadership is back in D.C. We largely had a cadaver that was running this federal government. Running. I put that in like finger quotes. You had a party that was doing this. Now you have one man that we've all established. Dad's back. And so you want everyone, they don't have to all fall in line, but it's a recognition of, all right, dude's back, we're back, here's what we're doing. We actually have real leadership now to where these other countries can't take advantage of us. There's a part of me that wanted to see Fetterman go, well, maybe some slacks, dude.
Yeah.
But all right, fine.
Again,
That's kind of your brand.
Don't think less of him.
Yeah.
Just come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, there are rules about not having a red hat in Congress. I think it's silly. I think it's stupid. This is the people's house. The people are the people. There are many different ways of dressing or thinking or, being comfortable. I'm with you. I would wear probably my suit. I would probably do that. That's only the way I was raised. When I go to temple, we wear a suit, put something over my head. There are certain things that I do. But at the same time, when it comes down to it,
don't think less of him.
Don't think less of them.
Yeah,
but I understand it.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's just funny that that Diddy's back, and that is a good thing. Let me let you hear what a bar in Washington, D.C.
I love this audio you found, by the way.
Yeah. It's so good.
I was watching this on Fox. It was great.
First time I saw it, I went, that is genius.
This is the moment at a D.C. bar that Donald Trump was sworn in. Remember, one of the bluest cities in America, if not the bluest city in America.
The Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the United States. So help me God. So help me God.
And everybody celebrates in Washington, D.C.? I would have never imagined
It's a totally different atmosphere. In fact,
Please go to the Alex Show store.
Oh, there we go. Thank you, Alex. There was a portion of one of the videos that was making its way around the internet where you had Tucker Carlson
just walking through town.
Walking through the streets of D.C., which 4 years ago could never have happened if Tucker Carlson was trying to walk down the street. What a different change in atmosphere. And I'm telling you, it's because Daddy's back in town. We didn't have an adult who could basically tell you, stop, don't do that. You didn't have an adult who could tell you there's two genders. You didn't have an adult who could say, hey, Hamas, stop. You didn't have an adult who told Chinese, you better back off of Taiwan. We did not have any of that for the better part of 5 years. Now it's back.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Yeah, and don't get confused. These aren't people who live in Washington, D.C. that were there. These are people who traveled in from all over the country to be a part of this. Now, I'm not saying there aren't people in Washington, D.C. who have changed their tune. There's very few. But I think there are a lot of people who go,
bring up a good point.
You know what? But most of those people came in. They were supposed to be outside, and what they did was they said, hey, we're not allowed to be outside the inauguration, but we're still going to have a good time and support this, and we're going to fill up every bar. And they filled up every bar anywhere within a 3-block radius of the Capitol and the D.C. arena, and they had a great time yesterday, and I loved every minute of it.
But you went into their backyard and you showed them what you thought.
And you made it yours.
Yep. It's ours.
The thing you bring up when we talk about Daddy being home, it reminds me a little bit, a snapshot of what Daddy being home is. Did y'all see the Vance kids?
Mm-hmm.
Cutest kids you ever seen. But they're being kids.
Oh.
Yeah, one time, one of the little boys was messing up his mama's hair.
Yeah,
she's like, stop.
And she smiled the whole time.
Absolutely. All that. And then there was one time when one of the little boys just draped over, the railing like, can we go home? I'm so bored. It was just children being children.
Mm-hmm.
And Mom and Daddy just corrected them. They did it gently, but they corrected them. Like, come on, don't mess up Mama's hair. This is an important day. Got lots of pictures to take. But isn't that representative of what's happening in the country when we say Daddy's home?
Yeah, and one of the first thoughts we had while watching it yesterday was, we haven't had kids in the White House in a long time, and it's kind of fun to see. And children being children.
Just being kids.
And I can't wait in 4 years when J.D. Vance, hopefully wins the White House and continues down that. And that family, because they're beautiful. I mean, the entire family is gorgeous. And it's fun to just kind of see kids being kids in those moments. Because there's no way I would have been like, I want to go home.
Like most kids.
Yeah.
I mean, what is it? We got to go back to the Bush twins and Obama and his family.
Yeah.
Since we've had children in the White House
They
outside
they
of
weren't even that young.
They were
were
like 14 at that
outside
point,
of Hunter
right?
Biden.
Yeah.
Well.
He acts like them.
Yes, yeah. I'd rather spend more time with the kids, those kids, than freaking a loser like Hunter Biden. Good Lord.
He's only hyper when he hits that, booger sugar.
Yeah, that's what they call it. That's what they say. I just
Don't say what's what they say.
What's that?
I was going to say, you're like that's what they say.
Yeah,
I'm like, talk about deflection.
Yeah, okay. All right. The accusations are flying my way like Darth Vader dodging. Like
I don't do cocaine, damn it.
I sound like Bella now, though. I sound with the vaping. The more you argue it, the more guilty you sound. So I try not to argue.
Okay, there's an extreme of you. A guy that the most you'll do is pop a beer, jump into bourbon, and cocaine. Whereas the kids do vape. So
right. Yes, that's right. Exactly right. Joey's back there from Captain Goey Virgin River.
Like if I was to be like, Joe, you got any Zin on you? He'd be, no, not at all.
No,
I don't Zin.
Never. What makes you think that I would? Like your parents are standing there close by?
No, I don't have any Zin on me.
Right.
As I pull it out of my back pocket.
Yeah.
And hand it over to
the little cut straws kind of throw.
All your rolled up $20 bills that dead giveaway, Tug.
Yeah, Tug.
I'm gonna have to do better.
I've never seen anybody roll 4 $20 bills and put them in their pocket like that.
See, I'm gonna have to do better because it's clear.
And your shirt pocket. At that.
Right. Y'all are onto my game.
Yeah, we have to turn off the YouTube channel because Tug's like during breaks is like,
yeah. You can see it right before the break when he touches his nose 3 times.
It's like Carol Burnett a little bit.
Yeah.
I asked him earlier, too, to share, and he goes, no, and he almost fought me.
Exactly. This is mine.
Do you know how expensive that stuff is?
What was funny was the first casino night when we had everybody else like turn off, and we told him, hey, do me a favor, just look at Tug and touch your nose and see what he does. And then Tug would just kind of give a signal back knowing what the joke was, and then he goes like, why did Chernoff do that?
Why are my coworkers in the office doing this to me?
Yeah, set me up.
So funny.
Set me up. That's and poor Matt Chernoff, he was like,
really?
Yeah, he thinks the
afternoon
worst.
drive at our sister station.
That's right.
He's like, why is Tug into this?
Right. And now I'm convinced that he believes it.
Oh yeah.
Because every time I pass him, he's like, hey, how are you doing?
Hey.
Like, and almost sidesteps me.
You got any help?
Yeah.
It's a long show this afternoon.
That's right.
I had to stay up late last night.
Goodness gracious. Fonnie Willis is she's not going to give up because she can't. She's, as Lois would call it, pot committed. I learned this from front office Lois. This is a gambling term.
It's a poker term. I spent so much money, I got to see the next card.
That's right, because I've got to win some of my loot back. I've lost it all, Rhino.
Well, unfortunately for Fonnie Willis, her political career is completely over in the city of Atlanta. She's a complete failure, disaster. She's lucky that all this came down after actual, voting her back in, because there's no way she should be in this position anymore. But the fight to continue to prosecute and lawfare against Donald Trump is officially over after an appeals court rejected Fonnie Willis to reinstate 6 charges that Scott McAfee said, hey, these charges are ridiculous. We're throwing. Scott McAfee, by the way, Democrat and also friend of Fonnie Willis, in fact, was, working with Fonnie Willis. He said, no, enough's enough. The appeals court agreed. She's done, man. She is completely done. Poor Fonnie Willis. Maybe not, because she brought this upon herself, and she looks like a complete fool. She should quietly try to get back into doing what she's supposed to do. Yeah, get back in the... Yeah. Why don't you start prosecuting crimes? Why don't you actually start putting people away?
She can't. She's not even good at that.
Well, because she's spinning in every direction. Look, she wants to blame white police officers for use of force and deadly force, and then now she has to oversee, Atlanta police officers. They're investigating a use of force, and none of them are white, and that's really bad for her, because now everything is thrown in turmoil, and she's facing it from each side, not just Republicans, but Democrats alike.
It's weird how politics at times can be like a popular television show. Once it jumps the shark, everyone leaves, and you're left, and you're the last person at the party.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like with her. She had the limelight. She was the star of the show. I'm going after Donald Trump. And then when everything went away, she's the last person at the party, and she's looking around going like, where'd everybody go?
Everybody did their Irish goodbyes.
But I'm a communist too. I was playing the game you told me to play. Why are you abandoning me?
I did what you told me to do. Like, there's do you guys ever see, and I like liken it to a movie, do you ever see the movie Dave? So it's a movie where a presidential impersonator is basically playing the president. And
like we've had for the last 4 years. Yeah. Is that what you mean?
And there's a point where he gets up in front of Congress as the presidential impersonator, and he points out his chief political rival, the crime he was doing. And the guy has like a room full of people, and they're all rooting for he's going to run for president. By the time he points out what he's done, the whole room is gone.
Yeah.
And he's the only one sitting in front of the television watching. Like, everybody left. They're like, we got to get out of here. This is Bonnie Willis. That's who she is now. She's the last person at the party.
And nobody wants to be the last person at the party ever. Talk about a lonely feeling. That's what Bonnie Willis has. Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra until 10, 6 o'clock hours, brought to you by Subaru of Gwinnett. If folks had those Subarus like Captain Boardop, Goey Virgin River had, and my wife Laura has, they wouldn't have got stuck in that snow down on the south side of the town. That's why you need to go to Subaru of Gwinnett. When we come back, Donald Trump and Tom Homan are already delivering on promises. Next on Extra.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
After being on the road for 9 of their last 10 games, the Atlanta Hawks head back home tonight to face the Detroit Pistons at 7:30. The Hawks are 5-5 in their last 10 games with a 22-20 record, good enough for 6th in the Eastern Conference. The Pistons are half a game behind Atlanta with a 22-21 record after winning 7 of their last 10. In baseball news, legendary lefty closer Billy Wagner was voted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. He spent his last season pitching with the Atlanta Braves. He joined CC Sabathia and Ichiro Suzuki in his Hall of Fame class. For Extra 106.3 Sports, I'm Joe Virgin.
Oh, I got up this morning, rolled out of bed. I was toasty warm, wrapped up in a blanket like a cocoon or something. And my feet hit the floor, and it was fine. Yeah, I got in the shower, it was fine. Got out of the shower, it was fine. But every bit of me dreaded walking out the front door to go crank my truck. And I did. I went out there and cranked it up for a minute, let it run, just so it could warm up, right? And went back in the comfort, the warmth of our house. You see, that's what I deal with every day. I don't want to leave my house because central heating and air conditioning has it so comfy inside, so toasty inside. There's no reason to want to leave. But, work calls. I'm not a federal employee. I got to go to work. They get to stay at home. They get to stay in the comfy, cozy house that they want to. I don't get to. I got to come to work. But the one thing that I know is when I go back to my house, even though it's 15 freaking degrees outside, my home will be warm because of Chuck and his team at Central Heating and Air Conditioning. You can have that same experience, where you don't want to leave your house because it's perfect. You can't wait to get back to your house because it's perfect. If you need a new Carrier system, it's the best in the business, working with the best in the business. They can save you $2,000 off that, put it right back in your pocket. Or they do the maintenance to make sure that the current system, Carrier or not, lasts as long as it possibly can because those things are expensive. And then finally, if you've got a system that's not working up to snuff, right now is the worst time for your heat not to be working. Chuck and his team can take care of it for you and get you back to that toasty warm place that you never want to leave. Call them today, 770-GET-HEAT, or go to centralheat.com.
You know the old expression, I love it when a plan comes together? Well, with our First Liberty Notes, this has been so true. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about our family's company all the time right here on the station. For over 30 years, we've been the local lender who said yes when the big banks say no. A couple of months ago, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Folks from airline pilots to physicians to even pastors are now earning 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of local small businesses. If you're a qualified investor with a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. SEC accredited investor status must be verified. Securities not offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Yellow Jacket fans, don't miss your chance to lock in your seat for the 2025 football season today. Next year's home slate is highlighted by the renewal of our rivalry with Clemson, as well as ACC matchup versus Pitt, Syracuse, and Virginia Tech. Into the end zone! Touchdown! Haynes King! All hail the King! Support head coach Brent Key and the Jackets on game day by visiting RamblingWreck.com/tickets to get your season tickets today. Sting 'em.
Hey, it's Mike with Atlanta Painting Company. We invite you to transform your home. Our expert team brings color to life with top quality paints and flawless finishes, and leading the industry with our color consultants. Whether it's a fresh coat of paint for one room or an entire exterior makeover, the Atlanta Painting Company has you covered. So, trust the local pros for reliable, professional service when you need to revive your home or business. Find us at AtlantaPaintingCompany.com or call us at 1-800-PAINTING. That's AtlantaPaintingCompany.com. The Atlanta Painting Company, the painters you can trust.
You're setting a lot of goals for 2025. Big plans, new adventures, and Subaru of Gwinnett has the vehicles to get you there. The 2025 Subaru Forester is the same reliable SUV that earned the trust of drivers for decades, but with more adventurous style and more advanced safety technology. And you'll love exploring in the 2025 Subaru Crosstrek. It gives you up to 34 miles per gallon and the power of a 182 horsepower Subaru Boxer engine, adding plenty of go to your adventures. The 2025 Subaru Outback shares your adventurous spirit. With up to 32 miles per gallon and 9.5 inches of ground clearance, you can explore your world with confidence. And the 2025 Subaru Legacy is what happens when we put the best of Subaru into a sedan. The turbocharged 260 horsepower Subaru Boxer engine makes driving a thrill. Plus, every Subaru model comes equipped with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive. Love is out there. Find it at Subaru Gwinnett, Satellite Boulevard in Duluth, or shop online at SubaruofGwinnett.com.
The Extra 106.3 app is your live connection to the station, streaming free across Georgia. But it's also loaded with all our original shows and podcasts. Listen to exclusive shows from Janelle King, Ben Burnett, and so many more. Grab the Extra 106.3 app now and start streaming.
Tug Rhino and Los on the Morning Extra on a chilly Wednesday. Can you believe that January is almost over? Like, it just occurred to me that the month is nearly over. Like, the first month of the year is almost gone.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And time slows down for no one. So it is unbelievable. It really is. I had something. What was I going to... There was a reason I was saying this, and now I've gone blank. That's what happens when you get old, I think. Maybe you just forget stuff. You just forget stuff. You just forget. And you go nowhere, and you spin your wheels. Well, guess who's not spinning their wheels? Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not wasting any time, and Tom Homan's not wasting any time. He was asked, when do you expect, we expect this stuff to start real soon? He was like, it's already started.
No, it started. It started. All these teams are out there as of today. We gave them the direction to prioritize public safety threats that we're looking for. So we've been working up the target list. There was some discussion about Chicago because the specific operational plan was released. So we had to look at and reevaluate, does this raise officer safety concerns? And it does. But we've addressed that, and teams are out there effective today.
So critics were saying, okay, you're going to round up people's abuela, their grandmother, and ship them back to where they emigrated from. Who are the people that you're targeting, at least in this initial phase?
Right out of the gates, public safety threats. Those who are in the country legally that's been convicted or arrested for a serious crime. But let me be clear. It's not only public safety threats that will be arrested, because in sanctuary cities, we're not allowed to get that public safety threat in the jail, which means we got to go to the neighborhood and find him. And when we find him, he may be with others. And unlike the last administration, we're not going to tell tell ICE officers not to arrest an illegal alien. So if they find others, they'll be arrested. So sanctuary cities are going to get exactly what they don't want. More agents in the neighborhood and more collateral arrests.
Yeah. Wow. So
you're just laying the hammer down.
This is what we want, right? This is exactly what we need. And we said it from the beginning. Everybody's going to flip out, but we got to go for the criminals first. So I do have advice for people who are illegal that are harboring criminals. How about you turn your criminal family in, or don't harbor them? Tell them, you're a problem. You need to leave. We're here, and they're going to catch us. That may be your way around it right now, especially if you're not doing anything wrong and you didn't break any laws. Unfortunately, if you came here illegally, you broke a law, and if there's somebody violent in your home and you've been harboring them, you might get caught up in it. So save yourself some trouble.
It seems pretty straightforward. Don't break the law. It's as simple. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. The man said, if you were breaking the law, we are coming to find you.
Yeah.
And that's what most Americans, I think, are fearful of. They're fearful in big cities, Chicago being one of them, because he referenced that one specifically. But Atlanta, Georgia is another. You know, you have that uneasy feeling when you go downtown. You're always looking over your shoulder. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's good to always be aware of your what's going on around you, which I think it is. But there's something innocent about America and Americans because we don't want to think like that. Unfortunately, we have to.
Yeah. It is one of those things that I think in any form of your life, there is no reason to break a law. And if you do break a law, you have to suffer the consequences. And if you don't think coming across the border is breaking the law, well, it is. It's stealing from the American people. It is breaking the law. You're not allowed to do it. And it's no different than any other law. Whether you steal a candy or something else, it doesn't matter if it's for your family, whatever. If I could go and say, hey, my family, they need help, they escaped the country, they need a car, and I go steal your car, I think you're going to prosecute me whether you're liberal or Republican.
Another thing that I think happens, because Rhino had talked about this, so the family members that know somebody is doing something wrong and they let them live there, they harbor them. It'd be no different than like you and I are driving up Georgia 400 or out I-20, and we get pulled over, I'm speeding, and I got a gun that don't belong to me, or it's illegal, and I got whatever. But let's say it's weed or a bunch of it, looks distribution, or cocaine, or something.
Definitely cocaine.
Most seems likely.
Like
if you know
personal or distribution mode.
Yeah. We're talking about a kilo?
Like
an
ounce or a kilo?
Yeah, a pound.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. Let's
go.
Out.
I mean, if you're going to go all out.
That's exactly right. So if we get pulled over and you're in the car, you have nothing to do with it, but you're with me, they're going to search you too.
Yes.
Because of what I've done.
Yes.
And because of what you're connected to. And it's going to be hard to go, well, I had no idea.
Well, they're going to ascertain whether or not I was involved.
Yeah, but it's going to take a process.
But it's going to take a process.
And you're getting wrapped up in it.
And that's part of it.
That's exactly right. And that's the whole point. Is anybody, like right now, want to target some person that's just doing construction work? No, we want to target people who are breaking laws and causing heinous crimes. But later, you better get your act right, because at some point, everybody's got to be checked out.
Yeah, and this is a process. You know, as we've been talking about,
Especially
how this is all going to work. If the reports have been that they are combing through these large cities and that the process has begun, and we're talking about hundreds of people, if you're doing this right, you're going to cross-check everybody based off of what their criminal history is, what you have on your own books, and what you can then ascertain about what they did in their home country. I think that's where that evaluation is going to go. I don't believe we're going to be in a situation where they can, for lack of a better term, willy-nilly just grab anybody and go, oh, you're here illegally? Okay, you got to go. Mm-hmm. I mean, we'd like it to be this way, but I don't think it's realistic.
It's going to be tough.
No, and I don't think that's what the plan is. The plan is to get the violent ones out, to get the gang members out, to start sorting it out, to figure it out. And that's what's going to end up happening. There is a way to come here. Nobody's keeping you out of this country in a legal manner. You can come here in a legal manner any way you want.
Has talked about the importance of immigrants, the best and the brightest, and how he encourages it. He wants those people to come, as do I. I think everybody does. But you have to be willing to contribute.
Yeah.
And you have to be willing to, dare I say, Assimilate.
Right.
No, no.
Yeah.
I know I'm not supposed to use that word. It's
Sometimes
probably
there are things you have to do in
word.
order to get into that position, right? Like, I can't come in here and get a job and just take it with a gun. I have to apply for it. Apply for citizenship.
How much have you missed Donald Trump? I don't know that it's measurable. Talk about it next after a Fox News update on Xtra 106.3.
The Kimmer Show is only live on Xtra 106.3 every weekday afternoon on your drive home.
Speaking of which, I went to Walmart last night. I love the music, the odd couple there. And I sent you a picture. You're such a mashed potato guy.
Yes,
you
I
just
did
found
see that.
out the Idahoan.
Yeah.
Idahoan has got together not only with Tapatio to get hot mashed potatoes.
I can't believe it.
There's 4 different flavors, by the way.
That's unbelievable.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Xtra 106.3 and the Xtra app.
Hey, Georgia neighbors, it's time to expect more from your Medicare Advantage. Discover Sonder Health's custom plans tailored just for Georgians. Saunders offers unique benefits, including special plans for those living with chronic conditions. Some plans even come with grocery or gas benefits to support your overall well-being. Sonder Health makes it easy to get the coverage you need. See for yourself what today's Medicare Advantage can do for you. Visit SonderHealthPlans.com, a healthier state of life. Sonder Health Plans is an HMO and PPO with Medicare contracts. Enrollment in Sonder Health Plans depends on contract renewal.
Why does it matter that D. Geller & Son is Atlanta's first diamond wholesaler? Because we get first dibs. When diamonds come to Atlanta, they come to D. Geller & Son first. A bunch of diamonds that look the same on paper, but there's about 1 in every 10 that you can see from across the room, and a lot in every 10 that are what my dad calls duds. So we keep the good one, we pack the rest back up, and they go somewhere else. That somewhere else is usually a big box store that's not quite as picky. That means the same color, same clarity, and same price gets you more brilliance, more sparkle, more bang for your diamond buck at D. Geller & Son. That's what we call the D. Geller difference. So why are we so picky? We live, work, and play right here in Atlanta. So when it comes to getting you the best diamond, we have to get it right. That's why Atlanta's first diamond wholesaler became Atlanta's favorite diamond retailer. Come see the D. Geller & Son difference for yourself and find out why we've been Atlanta's most trusted jeweler since 1939. In Atlanta, Kennesaw, and Sandy Springs, online at dgeller.com.
Who doesn't want a great smile? The world seems brighter because it is. Hey, it's a Kimmer. How's it going? You know, that's only one reason to see my dentist, Dr. Dina Giesler at Atlanta Smiles. The other reason, of course, is to take care of your teeth, or they're going to make your life miserable. We all know that. But when's the last time you were smiling before you walked in the door like me? Because I know Dr. Dina and her staff are the happiest Kimmer babes you ever saw. We're going to fix me up, and I always take the gas. They tell me my best stories come out that way. And you can actually get a doggy right there, napping in my lap, a little doggy. I said, go ahead, work away. Dr. Dina's a Navy vet, ranked a master dentist, which only 1% can say. She's been doing veneers since before anybody even knew what that was. My first visit was 30 years ago. Cosmetic dentistry, cleaning, bridges, crowns, especially keeping your teeth and gums healthy to last as long as you do. Veterans automatic 10% discount. Just tell them when you call. Atlanta Smiles, 404-262-7733. It's atlantasmiles.com. Your new smile's waiting for you. atlantasmiles.com. Tell them the Kimmer sent you. Ask for the doggy. atlantasmiles.com.
Start 2025 in style with Jim Ellis Ford Sandy Springs, home to one of Atlanta's largest selections of new and used vehicles. They're just 4 miles north of 285 on Roswell Road.
Stop by today to explore their incredible inventory of cars, trucks, and SUVs, each thoroughly vetted to meet the highest standards.
Looking for power and performance? Drive home a legendary Mustang or conquer the great outdoors in the rugged Bronco. Need family-friendly space? The Explorer and Expedition have you covered. Or experience the capability and strength of America's best-selling truck, the F-150.
And when it's time to finance, their straightforward, hassle-free process ensures your experience is stress-free. With access to numerous lenders and expert guidance, they'll help you find the best rates and terms to fit your budget.
Which Ford will you drive home to start the new year? Find out at Jim Ellis Ford Sandy Springs or visit us online at JimEllisFord.com. Your Ford dreams are waiting. Make them a reality today at Atlanta's favorite Ford dealer, Jim Ellis Ford Sandy Springs.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. This hour is presented by Van Sant Law, VanSantLaw.com.
An AI superpower. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. President Trump announces an investment in artificial intelligence meant to benefit humanity and U.S. national security and the economy.
The leaders of Oracle, SoftBank, and OpenAI are forming Stargate, a joint venture promising at least $500 billion in new artificial intelligence infrastructure like data centers.
What we want to do is we want to keep it in this country. China is a competitor and others are competitors.
President Trump announced the venture alongside the tech CEOs.
AI holds incredible promise for all of us, for every American.
Oracle Executive Chairman Larry Ellison says AI especially holds potential for medical advancements. The first data center is being constructed in Texas. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
And the president's announcing new tariffs on Chinese imports starting February 1st.
We're talking about a tariff of 10% on China based on the fact that they're sending fentanyl to Mexico and Canada.
He announced Monday a 25% tariff on imports from Canada and Mexico as punishment for allowing fentanyl and illegal immigrants to cross into the United States. China's foreign ministry says there is no winner in a tariff or trade war. President Trump's decision to pardon nearly everyone connected to January 6th Capitol riot crimes, including assaults on law enforcement, is denounced by the International Association of Chiefs of Police and the Fraternal Order of Police. Their statement says it sends a dangerous message that the consequences for attacking law enforcement are not severe, potentially emboldening others to commit similar acts of violence. A historic winter storm in the south has dropped more snow than a lot of people have seen in their lifetimes, nearly 10 inches around New Orleans.
I love it. I love it too. This is fun, right? Yeah.
But the snow and ice is also making driving treacherous, and a lot of roads are closed. There have been fatal crashes. There are more than 80,000 power outages reported in Florida, Georgia, and Texas. America's listening to Fox News.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
U.S. Navy Lieutenant Bradley Allen Foster's story is one of valor and selflessness. Bradley underwent air and combat training and was later awarded the National Defense Service Medal. Tragically, Bradley's promising life was cut short by a helicopter crash off the coast of San Diego, California. Tunnel to Towers provided his family with a mortgage-free home in his honor. Show your support for heroes like Bradley and their families. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. That's T2T.org.
Hey gang, it's your old friend Neil Bortz. You can catch me every Tuesday morning here on the Morning Xtra. Now back to Tug, Rhino, and Carlos on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3.
Download the app so you can listen live and on demand on your schedule. Tug, Rhino, and Los until 10. I read, there's something I read, y'all make poke fun at me a little bit, which I understand, and I probably deserve to be poked fun at. I'm a quirky dude. Relatively often. I read Southern Living magazine. And it's not even a magazine
to
anymore.
stay up to date?
Yeah, it's just southernliving.com. No, they have great stuff on there. Like, let me give you an example. 62 reasons why college is better in the South. Buddy, I could give you 59 of them right now. I wouldn't even have to read the article.
Go.
But I'm glad. They give you etiquette. Etiquette experts share the 8 biggest mistakes made at Southern weddings. It's things you need to know, man.
Yeah.
Those are important.
Getting really drunk.
I'm thinking that's not a mistake. That's right. Yeah. Exactly. Well, it depends on how you look at it.
No, there's a difference.
There's like normal drunk?
Right.
Okay.
And like sloppy carrying them out of the wedding drunk.
Yeah.
But there's something for everybody in there. Los, for cooking, they give you vegan ways to do Southern foods.
Okay.
Right? I mean, they try to... They
a little something for everybody.
Yeah. Rhino, they talk about gardening, because
right.
you and I were talking about gardening. You got your new heads of lettuce popping up right now as we speak.
Yeah.
He's doing gardening inside. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Hydroponic gardening.
There you go. Sounds fishy. Sounds fishy. On the surface.
Well, it's water. Hydro, water, yes.
Yes, I know. I know.
There's some fish. There's some fish oil in the mix, for sure.
Yeah, it's important to get it all in there. But this is the one that stood out to me today at Southern Living magazine. You do not need to warm up your car in cold weather. And I was like, the hell you say?
What?
You don't need to warm up your car in cold weather. Well, because they say carburetors are phased out in the 90s. Newer cars with fuel injectors warm up in 5 minutes.
Oh, they're talking that kind of warm up.
Yes, they're saying basically you don't need to warm your car up because I guess people still think you need to warm it up. It's for comfort. And they say if you do it for comfort, that's fine.
Okay.
But I think everybody knows that. And that's like an article that's a bit of a waste of time. Maybe that's some clickbait,
I don't know. I didn't know that.
Okay.
So I thought you still had to warm up like
Maybe
cars,
not.
but
okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, my thing was I don't care about the car. I care about my comfort.
Sure.
So
absolutely.
I'm thinking Southern Living has missed the ball on this one.
Yeah, I hit that little button on my phone, and then it warms it up.
I don't have that. I got an old truck. So.
Steering wheel's warm, and my butt seats
I
are
don't,
warm.
I don't have that luxury.
Sit in there, and I'm like, ooh, it's a bed.
You can't hide money. Good Lord.
I finally, for the first time ever, have a seat warmer. In the car I've had for the last 3 years, the first time I've ever had a seat warmer.
Yeah.
It's been wonderful the last 2 weeks. I never use it until the last 2 weeks.
Mine's broken right now. I got to go get a new fuse.
That thing's new. How can it be broken?
I don't know. I got to go talk to Ford about why.
Yes, you do. And I would do
Stinky
it.
Ford.
I'm not a fan of those. They make me feel like I poop myself.
No, I get it. It's a little uncomfortable
sweaty.
unless it's really cold.
Yeah,
and lately,
that's the only time I use it.
And by the
Wrong.
way, wrong. But for me, it's been all right, first 10 minutes you're in the car. Once it's nice and warm, you turn it off because, yes, you do have that feeling of, am I giving myself swamp butt? Like, am I sweating in my seat?
My entire body's normal temperature, then just my butt is
my bottom
on
and my
fire.
back, but it's nice.
Yeah. This is incorrect.
Yeah.
Dude, I use my seat warmers in the summer.
Oh, gross.
I'm not kidding.
There's
My wife was like, your seat warmers are on now? I'm like, yes.
You put it all the way up?
Absolutely, I do.
Oh, you
all
like that
the time.
comforting warm
I
bum.
never, ever turn off the seat warmers, ever.
Really?
Now, I sometimes it's on higher, but I never turn off seat warmers, ever. That's the only thing my old truck has is seat warmers. That's it. Nothing else fancy. That's all it is. Yeah, I love the seat warmers. It doesn't matter what, it doesn't matter when, doesn't matter where. Give me the seat warmers. We're in Charleston. My wife was like, yeah, your seat warmers on? Yes, I do. You worry about your seat, I'll worry about mine.
There you go.
Back off. I'm telling you, I love the seat warmers. Another thing that I love is having Donald Trump back in the White House. Holy cow. How much front office lows have you missed this guy?
It's been wonderful.
It's only 3 days.
1,384 days left to go until the next presidential election. So cope with that.
Who's counting?
Yes.
Just going to let you know. So yesterday was a chance to talk to the media and to point out, well, these are the pardons and these are the reasons why. You will never hear this from Joe Biden. This just shows you how rudderless we were. Once you take a listen to Trump 2.0, you want to talk about a man who is organized and in charge. Listen to him tell the media what he needs to be able to say and how it's not your time to talk.
And we had 1,500. We have 16 under review. As you know, we commuted about 16 of them because it looks like they could have done things that were not acceptable for a full pardon. But these people have served years of jail, and their lives have been ruined. And in many cases, listen to me for a second. Stop interrupting. They've served years in jail, and if you look at the American public is tired of it. Take a look at the election.
It is tough to hear, but the reporter immediately says, "I apologize."
They would have never done that. And Trump, so that's the thing. In Trump 1.0, they'd have never apologized. They would have never. It's a different mentality, and he's more steady. There's not like I don't know, just his presentation is so much different and very direct, very strong, and not apologetic. It's not yelling or name calling because he stayed even keeled, but the guy was so intimidated that he apologized.
He did apologize. It's not like what we saw with Joe Biden when Peter Doocy asked him or challenged anything that he was saying and being called a stupid son of a bitch the way that, Joe Biden called him. He said, hold on 1 second, let me finish talking. And he's establishing, this is the thing that we've been talking about for so long, Carlos. The adults are back. Hold on. Finish your supper. Don't talk with your mouth full. Let me finish my sentence. Then we'll talk. And guess what? He realized that and said, I'm sorry, and then continued. That's diplomacy in a way.
This media has gotten used to having a commander-in-chief who could not explain anything. They didn't get a chance to talk to him. They didn't get a chance to have a press conference. When you look at the amount of times that there was an open media session where Joe Biden was actually being asked questions he was not prepared for. Remember, they prepared him who he had to go to and what the question was in advance so that he had a stock answer ready to go and note cards to read. This is different. It's going to take a little bit of time for the media to get used to what regular humans are like when you interview them.
Which is nuts because you would think that they would be used to that. I mean, it's not like they just started today. It's a question answer. It's a conversation. It's a, hey, this is what I want to know about. And then they jump in and try to cut him off before he can even get to the point that he was asked about. Those days are done. They're over. Look, I heard, who was it? I guess it was Beck yesterday. I was listening to Glenn Beck a little bit after our show was done. And he was talking about how it's time to just wipe out the press corps. Because what use do they have at this point? And then just open it up to, we're going to give everybody an opportunity.
Apply for credentials.
Yeah, it's exactly right. Just because you're ABC don't mean you got a spot.
I would love to see what kind of was talked about early with Donald Trump. Joe Rogan should be in there if he would like to be. There are because if you look at the reality of things, the media has changed. Now the media is Joe Rogan. The media is Elon Musk and Twitter. The media is right. It's all of us, and it's the ones that are sitting here and talking about and dispelling these lies on both sides, and continue to do that. That should be open to all of us.
I hope that happens. I don't expect it to happen. But it would be cool to see the press just kicked out and then have to apply for credentials and give a reason that they belong there, that they need to be there, other than we're ABC or we're CNN.
I thought it was fun when you had them complaining about where their assignments were going to be. And one of the things that you did have, the Trump group as a campaign talked about, we're going to take what is now newer media and we're going to put you in places of prominence. If you want to tell me how CNN should be in that room, and I believe they should be in that room, they should be able to ask questions. It's how it should be. But you're asking questions for 30 to 100,000 viewers, whereas one of these podcasters is doing 50 million views. Why would I not give them a place of prevalence more so than CNN?
Yeah, because they deserve it more than CNN. I'm with you. I'm not saying that CNN doesn't deserve a seat at the chair.
They should be there, but
in the back of the room.
But I did make it. Look, I'm just saying it should be based on how much exposure are you giving us? What is your message? Are you going to treat us fairly? I'm fine with you asking me tough questions, but when you take my question and twist it and turn it into some other thing that it isn't, pardon me, you don't belong in the room anymore. Yeah. And CNN's done that plenty.
I ask you, what does a better service to the country? Remember, educating voters, that is what the media is there to do. When you have MSNBC talking about this police officer who was killed on January 6th, well, no, that didn't happen. He ended up dying of natural causes the next day. When they are talking to 100,000 people, or Joe Rogan is talking about how crazy these people are about spouting off these lies, these wonderful people on both sides, or this many police officers died on January 6th, and that reaches 30 million people, which one is more advantageous to the community as a whole?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who's giving you better information?
Who's providing the best information? And that's not to say you can't challenge Trump, because you should. You should absolutely challenge anyone in authority. Because with authority and money usually comes corruption. It's just the way it works. It's historically the way it's worked. So call people, yes, call balls and strikes, but be fair. I think that the people that try to present the information, and whether you agree with it or don't, you like the president, you don't, doesn't matter to me. Who's calling balls and strikes, and that's who gets to be in there.
Yeah, we're in a time in this world where, it'd be almost better if we just opened it up as a spaces and the questions were asked through there and allowed it to be done that way. And you get to pick and choose from all over the world which people you want involved in the questioning of this. That's the transparency you can use, because in reality, like Carlos said, more people are on Twitter, are on social media platforms trying to ask these questions. Why not open it up to that? But yeah, they're going to be traditional with it. They're going to have writers always stood above everybody else. And whether it was sports or politics, writers always got the first shot. When I was, doing baseball writers were way more important than a radio guy. TV guys, next in line, radio always at the bottom of the barrel when it came to, being a part of press conferences. That needs to change because I think more people are listening to this format, whether it's digital or terrestrial radio like we do, than they are actually watching news and news organizations anymore.
Well, it's a redo. It's a rethink. If Rhino's doing a podcast and he's doing it for Barstool, the chances are that the audience you're trying to reach is better off talking to him than talking to the AJC. Mm-hmm. If you're talking about covering a team or a particular topic, that's where things have gone to. That's why, as much as we talk about this is a radio show, why do you think we make everything available in podcast the way we do? Because we know
that's where the people are.
There's an entire massive audience that consumes our product well after we're done with it being live. That's the nature of what is going on. And so when you talk about how you're going to put together this room in the future, yes, you should be looking at where's Theo Vaughn or where's Theo Vaughn's representative?
He's falling down on the floor right now, sir.
Okay, well, I'd rather have Theo Vaughn talking than the USA Today.
That's right, because at least Theo's going to look, and you can see him. All you have to follow him on X, Twitter, if you still call it Twitter. I still do. You can see, he talks about, he's a dummy, and he's funny, and I love him.
It's a comedian who's a dummy.
Absolutely.
But he asks honest questions.
Exactly. And you know what? I would take somebody asking honest questions that don't come off as hoity-toity. I'm Ivy League educated. I've got my degree from UGA's Grady School of Broadcasting or of Journalism, because I think that's what Americans relate to, because that's where they are.
All right, I'll give you an example. And this is the difference in a Theo Vaughn question versus a media question. If I was to say, Rhino, now that you're off of drugs and you've stopped beating up your friends, what has life been like now? It's like, okay, I just set the premise by which I'm making him answer.
Yeah.
Theo Vaughn is asking questions without a premise.
Right. That's right.
Rhino, what is it like now dealing with, and so you choose to get in what you choose to get into. The credentialed media, those people that are typically up front, they're setting the premise by which you have to answer. Have people ask honest questions.
Yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be nice to say, hey, here's what you did. You pardoned all these J6ers. There are a lot of people, talk about pardoning. Why pardon these people?
What was the decision process involved?
Yeah.
How did you get to that point? What is the reasoning behind it?
Yeah, the way they ask it is, these people murdered Brian Sitnick that day on January 6th.
Some of them are murderers.
And yeah, so why would you pardon murderers?
Right, they set the premise by which you have to then answer the question, which in Donald Trump 2.0's case, in Trump's America, not answering your question based on your premise.
And will scold you. And dress you down almost like a child.
Excuse me, I'm talking.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Diddy's talking.
Yeah.
You let Diddy finish.
Daddy's in charge here.
Yeah.
Diddy will let you ask
I know this is problematic for people, and they think that I'm referring to him as my daddy. No, not at all.
No.
I'm just calling him your daddy.
He's American.
And then if you haven't figured out that we now have a dad in the room once again, because remember, dad is there to tell you, stop eating this, stop doing this, do more of this. That's what we have in the White House now. And I don't care if you didn't vote for it, it's still your daddy.
Yeah.
Daddy, can I ask a question, Daddy? I can see it now. They're going
My daddy's not a rapist. Well, neither is he, according to the law.
Exactly. Right. Absolutely
But
right.
it sure didn't affect whether or not people voted for him, did it?
Actually, you know what?
Record numbers.
And Rhino was the one that led the charge on this. It actually got him more votes.
Yeah.
The fact that they did him the way that they did. And that comes back to play with the way that the media covers him, right? They wanted that to be damaging. They wanted to ask from that premise that Los brought up, hey, he's a convicted felon 34 times over. And tell me about why you voted for. You know what I mean? Painting you in a bad light, like you're the bad person because you voted for this felon. Yep. That's going back to the premise. That's the way they act.
And I did. I voted for the felon. I voted for the assumed rapist. I voted for the Nazi, the fascist. I voted for everything you said he is. Sure. Yeah, if you want to play that game, what I voted for was policy, and I see it every single day, and I'm already seeing a more peaceful world, a more prosperous world. The stock market today and yesterday just kind of show that we're heading in the right direction with the right leaders in place, and thank God we all voted for this 34-time convicted felon.
How could you? You're low down. You're no good. You're the problem. It's you. And me and Rhino.
That's right.
Yeah. So anyway, just something to think about when you see Donald Trump dressing down these reporters. And he does it. It's not as sharp as it used to be. There is a polish to Donald Trump 2.0. He's still getting the message across. He's just handling it so much differently than it did the first time. And I think that's going to pay dividends for him. I really do. When we come back, we'll knock out the headlines. 7 o'clock hour is brought to you by Van Sant Law. If you're in an accident, make the right call. VanSantLaw.com on deck. Next on Extra 106.3, the Talkmaster, Neil Bortz.
Donald Trump, to the anguish of Democrats, especially those in Congress, wants to really work on cutting government spending. They're not happy.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
You may know that ATL Turf Co. has become a leader in artificial grass design and installation services. But you may not know that ATL Turf Co. is a large artificial grass distributor. We only sell U.S.-made, premium name brand turf at factory direct pricing below wholesale. And now we're open to the public with large inventories of lawn and landscape, putting green, athletic, and pet turf on sale. Plus, all remnants are on sale for only $1 per square foot, direct from Dalton to our warehouse in Kennesaw. Visit atlturfco.com to learn more. atlturfco.com.
Millions of guys suffer from erectile dysfunction. That's 1 in 3 men. And I can tell you, I'm one of them.
If you or someone you know suffers from ED, Peyronie's disease, or PE, here's 38-year emergency room doctor and founder of Total Body Therapy of Georgia, Dr. Eric Deal.
Patients who enter my office are often frustrated, hopeless, depressed, and embarrassed. I understand the problem, and I'm going to help you fix it. We provide testosterone replacement therapy, the P-shot, and treatment for ED, PE, and Peyronie's disease. There's not just one therapy that can solve these complex issues. When you visit our clinic, you're going to see me. I'll do a complete history and physical prior to any treatment that we use. Take it from me, Dr. Deal. When it's not hard, it's really hard.
Call Dr. Deal for your free one-on-one evaluation and resolve your ED, Peyronie's, or PE issues. 404-777-1911. Total Body Therapy of Georgia. 404-777-1911. Online at tbtofga.com.
A musician with technical knowledge can play all the right notes. But one who cares enough to play from the heart gives music soul. At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking. Because when you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Start feeling unstoppable. Visit truist.com/care. Truist Bank, member FDIC, leading based on top 10 U.S. commercial bank.
At Nelson Elder Care Law, we understand that family's everything. That's why we prioritize your family's future with personalized asset protection solutions. Call us today to schedule your legacy planning meeting and discover how our team can tailor our services to meet your family's unique needs, ensuring a secure and worry-free future. NelsonElderCareLaw.com.
Military veterans are eager to transfer their skills and experiences to civilian life, but lack trusted connections to expedite their path to success. The civilian world can be confusing, and veterans do not need to journey through it alone. When you reach out to the Warrior Alliance, we will guide you to the best-in-class resources that can lead you toward renewed purpose after serving our nation. Find out why thousands of warriors have found success after service after engaging with the Warrior Alliance. For assistance, go to thewarrioralliance.org or call 404-210-1776.
I enjoy a good night's sleep, and I like to breathe while I'm sleeping. My wife appreciates that, too. That's why I wear a CPAP. You want the right machine. You want expert advice. You want all the supplies that go with it. You get it all at CPAPs, etc. in Alpharetta. Machines, masks, tubing, filters, cleaning supplies, all of it, and they ship nationwide. Walk-ins, by the way, are welcome. CPAPs, etc. Alpharetta, CPAPSETC.com.
Start the new year in style behind the wheel of a brand new Cadillac from Jim Ellis Cadillac. From the iconic Escalade to the innovative electric Lyric, Jim Ellis Cadillac offers the models you know and love. along with the latest in luxury EVs.
And the buying experience, just as luxurious as the Cadillac name itself. With great prices, a great selection, and a team of knowledgeable sales associates, you'll love shopping at their showroom, conveniently located on Peachtree Boulevard, just inside the perimeter.
Prefer to shop from home? Visit JimEllisCadillac.com, where you can browse all the latest offers and even start or complete your entire purchase online with the Jim Ellis Expressway.
Want to try before you buy? Schedule an at-home test drive and enjoy the convenience of home vehicle delivery.
Start the new year right. Experience luxury like never before at Jim Ellis Cadillac. Jim Ellis Cadillac, where you can always expect the best.
Jim Ellis, expect the best.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Good morning. Here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Wednesday, January 22nd. Former Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms is no longer in her position after President Donald J. Trump announced his administration would remove 1,000 appointees from the Biden era. Bottoms subsequently announced her resignation from President Biden's Export Council on January 4th, with her departure taking effect on January 20th, the day of the presidential inauguration. And the Georgia Bureau of Investigation has arrested a former Towns County deputy for allegedly making false reports after claiming he was shot during a traffic stop. 26-year-old Austin Bradburn reported that a driver grabbed his gun during a brief struggle, resulting in 7 shots being fired, 2 of which struck him. The GBI has not specified which parts of Bradburn's account were false. The alleged shooter has not been identified. A GoFundMe campaign launched to support Bradburn's recovery has since stopped accepting donations. With your headlines, Scott Rhino, Extra 106.3.
Oh, wow. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. It's time for Neil Boards, the Talkmaster. The only place you can get him is on Extra 106.3, and we're delighted to talk to him this morning. Neil, we are starting our third day of the Trump administration. I would love to know your thoughts so far.
Oh, good and bad. By the way, it's 46 degrees down here. Who can live in this stuff?
Oh, my
goodness. Try 14 in Atlanta.
Well, that's your choice.
It didn't change. You're correct, but it didn't change the fact that it sucks. And look, this is not a typical Atlanta winter. It's not.
No, it's not. And it's going to be up to 62 today, so that's fine.
There you go.
That's
You'll be
much
all right.
better.
Yeah.
You'll make it.
Okay, good and bad. You know, I just learned something this morning when I woke up from my stupor yesterday, so thanks for giving me the relief.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir.
The suspicion is, and I'm getting tested today, is that we didn't kill off the E. coli and it came back with a vengeance.
Oh,
no. Yeah, God. It's always
talk
something.
about damn the luck.
You know, when you're my age, you don't just shrug this stuff off. But the good... I know you guys have talked about it because I never come up with anything you haven't talked about.
Well, once in a while.
You're always that's why I'm glad I never had to compete against you.
No, you're too kind.
Too sweet.
Donald Trump has essentially ordered that any federal employees whose job it was to enforce DEI policies be gone by tonight.
Adios, y'all.
Bye.
Don't you love that?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a fun one. That's been celebrated quite a bit.
I love the fact that he put it in the Civil Rights Act, or put it as a part of the Civil Rights Act, talking about we should have equality for all, including, white Americans and all Americans that even you disagree with, rather than just minorities. So we're going to cancel all of this so that we all have the same rights.
Yeah, I love it. Now, and I also am really amused by Joe Biden's attempt, as he's leaving office, to make the ERA amendment the law of the land. What a clown. He now says it's the 28th Amendment. It's the law of the land.
What a goon.
He has no idea how amendments are made, huh?
Well, no, it's the worms. His brain has worms by this point. I mean, come on.
I mean, it'd be hard to argue.
Decomposing.
Yeah. Oh, yuck.
Oh. By the way, have I ever told you all how to kill a tapeworm?
No.
Ooh, how does that?
I believe you brought that up before.
Well, I'm not going to tell you, but if you want to put a kit together, just get a hold of 6 hard-boiled eggs, 5 Tootsie Rolls, and a hammer.
Whoa.
I gotta say, that is that's something I've never.
I have no idea what to do with them, but I'll put it together.
Yeah.
I got the hammer
get
and
the tape
eggs.
together. Just like, okay, now the bad.
Yes.
I understand why he did it. I understand why he feels, or he might have felt compelled to do it. But this pardoning of all of these people, and especially some of them, yes, but who beat on cops on the January 6 riots is beyond the pale. Like this guy named William Lewis, he got 3 years, okay? He sprayed wasp and hornet killer at police officers who had to go and seek treatment for their eyes. Wasp and hornet killer in their eyes. A guy named Thomas Castleman hit multiple officers in their faces with pepper spray after he researched on the internet looking for information on the statute of limitations for assault on a police officer. Some of these people, they should have been in jail. They should have stayed in jail. I hope there are miserable consequences in that they have a hard time getting jobs. But Trump, I think he felt, I have to do this because they were there because of me. They were there doing this because whether I intended it or not, they felt that I had asked them to do this. So they did it. And so I am personally bearing some of the responsibility, and I'm going to issue these pardons. But it's still a huge black eye right at the beginning of his administration. I'm very disappointed with it.
I'm extremely excited about it, and I will tell you why, considering that when you look at what's going on in American cities, assault on a police officer might get you 18, maybe 24 months. Neil, these people have been in prison oftentimes without a real trial for 4 to 5 years. If that is not what communists do all around the world whenever they seize power, that is something that we should be offering a blanket pardon. I'm with you. Like, you should spend time in prison, but what is too much when you're a political prisoner?
Yeah,
and no one else in society is getting these sort of fines or penalties.
Well, I mean, this guy, he got 70 months. Okay, that's what, almost 6 years, I think. My math sucks. He was wearing brass knuckles under a glove when he assaulted these police officers. He held one down on the ground as other rioters stomped on that police officer for over 20 seconds, causing a concussion. Now, a guy that does this, how much time does he deserve?
But
what's the precedent?
The precedent's already been set when they were doing the same things in Minneapolis, burning down, attacking people, attacking police officers, and nothing happened.
I know.
The precedent has been set.
There are certain communities that have, depending on the state, a 2-year minimum sentence on any sort of assault, battery, or anything against a police officer. Then there are others where it's a minimum of 1 year. And so I guess that's my point. You deserve, because let's face it, 4 to 5 years in prison is no joke, but an indefinite amount of prison time for these people, I think, goes way too far considering what has gone on.
Well, assault on a law enforcement officer or a first responder, I think, is in a special category that deserves much harsher punishment than an assault on an accountant who screwed up your tax return.
Right. No, that's right. I think all that's right. But
what is it? What is that sentence? Because we don't have that idea, and we also don't have what actually went into everything that is involved. Number one, can we talk about the due process that they were not allowed, or the ability to talk to their lawyers that they kept them in jail for,
or the torture that they were submitted to. And these are people that some of them took plea deals with the intention of they weren't allowed to actually tell what actually occurred, how they were actually able to point out. There was one gentleman I was reading, how the FBI and the prosecutor said, here's what you said. It's like, I never said that. If you don't take this plea deal saying this is what you said, you're going to prison.
Okay, listen, I agree with all of that.
Yeah.
But But tell me, just how in the world does a guy with cans of Hornet spray in his coat, how did he just accidentally happen to attack a police officer with that?
Right.
Yeah, no, and he deserves to be punished. Nobody's disagreeing with that part of it. Yes, you deserve to be punished. But what is the punishment, and who sets it? And when will we follow that? Because it's not been followed to this point in the last 4 years.
Listen, guys, I agree with you. Some of the radicals on this issue, however, they were just touring the Capitol. Oh, yeah? So maybe if we just took these guys and turned them loose in a padded room with about 10 police officers. Give the police officers 5 minutes.
That's what they were doing already in the gulags of D.C.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the problem without any due process for these people.
And it was also part of the entrapment of welcoming everybody into the Capitol and then attacking them and firing pepper spray at them. I mean, the police attacked them first,
like the same
in almost every single scenario.
The same people that had a problem with torture at Guantanamo Bay are not saying anything about torture of American citizens in this country.
Well, I haven't read about that. I'll give you that. You're always ahead of me, but I will try to look that up. By the way, you want to come down here and
is it warm?
Yes.
Because if the invite's open,
degrees.
We're on our way.
Oh, nice.
I'm completely changing the subject on you.
Okay.
Completely. By the way, I hope you people don't have any pipes freeze. God, I have
we're trying to avoid it.
We got dripping water all through the house. We've turned off the water to the outside faucets and emptied the pipes already, man. We've been trying to do our best knowing that this was coming.
I had pipes freeze in my law office.
Ooh, that's no good.
I went in there. Well, you don't need the details, but when you open the front door to your building and a wall of water pushes you back onto the sidewalk.
Goodness.
Yeah, not good. Okay. Total change. You remember the Tylenol murders?
Yes. Absolutely.
Refresh my memory.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, it's somebody was putting poison in capsules of Tylenol. I think it was in Chicago. I'm not sure.
It was, Neil, and that was what ended up causing for them to now you have the safety seals on it because somebody was dropping, was it cyanide in them at the time?
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I'm glad you mentioned the safety shield. So with this little thing I've been going through, I've been having trouble getting a good night's sleep. So I use Instacart a lot because I don't like grocery stores. So I use Instacart. The order arrives day before yesterday, and there's a box of Tylenol PMs. And I am going to take 2 for last night because I did not sleep the night before. And I open the box, and then I take the little bottle out of the box and open it, and the little foil cover has been opened, peeled back. So what's my next move?
Throw it away, take it back, one of the two.
Well, I damn sure didn't take any of the pills.
Well, yeah, no, definitely not that.
Well, I just want credit for that.
Oh, yeah, that's a smart move, Neil.
Yeah, thank you. Anyway, I'm taking that box over to the grocery store today, and I'm going to show it to them, and I'm going to show them what happened. And my guess is they're going to say, well, we'll give you another box of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it'll go no further. And since I was using Instacart, I think it ought to be investigated from one end to the other. I think starting maybe with the guy that pulled the box of the pills off of the shelf at the grocery store and then delivered them to me.
So do you think it was the
same guy?
Do you think it was the person that was delivering to your house that did this? I mean,
it's possible.
Well, it certainly is possible, but you're.
I'm not saying it was.
Yeah, I got it. Okay.
But it's certain that's where the investigation would start for me.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, no, I think, stuff like that, especially if you see like a one-off, it seems like it'd be, something could have happened in packaging, manufacturing. I don't know. Just me speculating here. It's spitballing. But if you see a trend, and that's, obviously that's when you're like, wait a minute, this somebody's doing something sinister here.
I think they need to go to those boxes of this on the shelf and take a look at them and see if any of them. I don't know. It's so wide ranging, and they don't know who I am, so it couldn't be
But it doesn't matter though. Criminals, like, they're just looking for somebody to take advantage of. Or somebody that has some idea like that. It doesn't matter that it's you or who it was. They just want to cause havoc.
Yeah. Look, it's just it unnerved me because I was already sick as a dog, and then all of a sudden is somebody trying to screw with my little Tylenol pills here. It's
weird.
It's of no interest to the listening public. Okay, I understand that, but it just unnerved me, and you validated that I did the right thing. I didn't take any, and so I didn't sleep again.
That part sucks.
So. Yeah, that's the way it goes.
As bad as it sucks, though, you may just have to go to the store yourself. That way you can be assured. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, the other day we asked about, I commented about who was watching who during the inauguration.
I saw some wondering eyes.
Yeah. So now we have Fox News coverage watched in across the country, 11 million viewers. 11 million viewers for Fox News. And let's see, the others, the networks and what have you, they didn't even come close. And I don't know what MSNBC was, but it had to be, well, CNN, 1.7 million. Fox News Channel, 11 million.
Wowza. Yeah.
MSNBC, 848,000. Guys, you have more than that listening to you right now. ABC, 4.7 million. CBS, 4.1. NBC, 4.4. Fox got 11 million.
Right.
Now, think about this. Look at the message that's being sent to the national media in this country that Fox is delivering the news product that they want to see and hear, and the rest of you are pulling up the very tail end of all of this, and it doesn't look good for you.
Yeah, look, the reality, I think, sets in when you realize people are looking for Fox News, and I know they say they're fair and balanced, but the reality is I think they're looking to get away from the true lies that you're getting out of an MSNBC, ABC. They saw the lawsuits against George Stephanopoulos on ABC, and they still got they got more viewers than the others, but the reality is I think people are tired of the lies they get from some of those media outlets.
Well, they are. And then I decided, and this is just part of the delirium that goes with how I've been feeling, I decided to tune over to MSNBC for a bit on I wonder how they're covering this.
It's delicious
to
do
fun.
so. I love doing that too.
Me too.
Yeah. And there they are with the Krylon across the bottom of the screen. Convicted felons sworn in as president of the United States.
They just had a meltdown.
Just couldn't help themselves.
No.
But that's what helped them lose.
But that's how you lose. Play a little more straight, that's all. You can be critical.
And they have to know that as soon as it goes through the courts, that whole felony conviction thing is going to be overturned.
Of course it is. And here's the thing, Neil. It doesn't matter to them. That they're so married to their ideology and they're so married to their deep belief, real or not, they're so married to it, they cannot let it go. It doesn't matter if it's damaging. I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, it's a good thing that Rachel Maddow is so hot, or she'd never even be on.
It's a fair point. It's a fair point, Meg.
Hold on.
Wait a minute.
She is a smoke show. There's no doubt.
What, Rachel Maddow? Looks like Keith Olbermann to me.
She's so far up there on the Budweiser scale.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. Cases and cases.
Okay, guys, I'm headed to the doctor.
I hope you feel better,
Neil.
Thank you.
Better every day.
Yes, sir. God bless you. Neil Bortz, Talkmaster, Extra 1063 Tug Rhino, and Lawson till 10. When we come back, the latest rumors are just an attempt to derail Pete Hegseth. The resistance, however, is futile. Next on the Morning Xtra.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
After being on the road for 9 of their last 10 games, the Atlanta Hawks head back home tonight to face the Detroit Pistons at 7:30. The Hawks are 5-5 in their last 10 games with a 22-20 record, good enough for 6th in the Eastern Conference. The Pistons are half a game behind Atlanta with a 22-21 record after winning 7 of their last 10. In baseball news, legendary lefty closer Billy Wagner was voted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. He spent his last season pitching with the Atlanta Braves. He joined CC Sabathia and Ichiro Suzuki in his Hall of Fame class. For Extra 106.3 Sports, I'm Joe Virgin.
Hey, it's Rhino here for my friends over at True Prep in Marietta on Cobb Parkway, a locally owned and operated company that you need to check out. And I'm going to tell you why. You want to make sure that your family is safe in any kind of emergency, weather events, chemical plants exploding, whatever it may be, things that can happen that you don't even think about will affect your daily life, whether or not you have enough water, whether you have enough food to get out of your house. Maybe you can't even get out of your house. Maybe you need to protect your house. Well, that's a good part about having a locally owned and operated company like True Prep. Matt, Joey, Amy, all the professionals there have put together everything you need in case of an emergency. Freeze-dried food, water filtration, first aid kits, firearms, firearm accessories, ammo, and they have it all at the lowest prices around. Not only that, they're also there to help you to get started, to make sure that you're prepped in any kind of emergency. Go in and speak to them, or you can go online and check out all about True Prep and some of their workshops that they have all the time there at their location in Marietta on Cobb Parkway. They have an amazing classroom in the back where they talk about the intro to emergency preparedness and get you set up, your get home bag, your water filtration class, and even how you can store food for long term. You got to go check it out. Check it out either in Marietta on Cobb Parkway or online at trueprep.com. That's TRUprep.com. Prepare today for a worry-free tomorrow with True Prep.
Join Braves Vacations for some exciting road trips to historic cities and ballparks during the 2025 season. Fans can enjoy 3 games at Fenway Park in Boston to watch the Braves take on the Red Sox May 15th through the 19th, or head to Wrigley Field for 3 games against the Chicago Cubs August 31st through September 3rd. Road trip packages include deluxe hotel accommodations, game tickets, exclusive events with Braves team personnel, unique excursions, select meals, optional airfare, and more. Visit Braves.com/vacation to learn more.
There are crazies on the road. Who knows where they're all going, but if one of them hits you, don't take care of it on your own. Call my friend David Van Sant. He is the lawyer that used to work for the insurance company. The team at Van Sant Law knows who to call, what to say, and will make sure you get what you deserve and what the insurance company doesn't want to pay for. They have your best interest at heart and will take care of everything. If you don't get paid, they don't get paid. My advice, save Van Sant Law in your phone. Today, 855-GA-INJURY, vansantlaw.com.
Hey there, it's Tara, owner and publisher of Our Town Monthly magazine. We're celebrating 20 years of local voices, familiar faces, and community businesses.
Happy anniversary to Our Town Monthly.
Happy anniversary, Our Town Monthly. Here's to 20 more years.
Because of you, we're so proud to be Cobb's premier lifestyle magazine, and we want you to be part of it. So if you want your business in the hands of over 750,000 Cobb residents, or maybe you have a story to tell, reach out at ourtownmonthly.com or call us 678-337-7844. 678-337-7844. Because Our Town is your town for 20 years and growing at Our Town Monthly.
Happy anniversary, Our Town Monthly. Thanks for 20 great years of being Cobb's premier lifestyle magazine.
Happy anniversary, Our Town Monthly. Congratulations on 20 great years.
You know the old expression, I love it when a plan comes together? Well, with our First Liberty Notes, this has been so true. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about our family's company all the time right here on this station. For over 30 years, we've been the local lender who said yes when the big banks say no. A couple of months ago, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Folks from airline pilots to physicians to even pastors are now earning 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of local small businesses. If you're a qualified investor with a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. Go to firstlibertyga.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to firstlibertyga.com. That's firstlibertyga.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. SEC accredited investor status must be verified. Securities not offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Live and local news talk continues at 3 p.m. with Kimmer, Pete, and Flounder. It's the Kimmer Show, only on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
I may be proven wrong, but I believe all of Donald Trump's nominees will make it through the process. Pete Hegseth being the one that led off and knocked it out of the park. He's already cleared the Armed Services Committee and goes straight to the full Senate now. But the left, they're trying their best. They're trying whatever they can do to try to derail this. I think it's futile to do so, but this is the story. Pete Hegseth's former sister-in-law says Pete was mean to his ex-wife.
Oh, no.
And he drank too much. Had too many cold beers. All this has been asked and answered. And Pete's ex-wife that they're referring to, and all these, I saw it in Politico, but there's plenty of articles out there. When she was asked, she was like, none of this happened.
So let me get this straight. The sister-in-law cooks up a story based on what she believes.
No reason to get back at the family, her old, old relationships.
To then go to the primary source who said none of this ever happened.
Right.
And the media goes, well, we don't need to have anything about what the primary source is saying. Let's make sure that the in-law is the one who shares the data.
But this is the problem with our media and the way that they handle this and the truth. And again, let's go back to what Neil Bohr said. This is why 11 million people went to Fox News instead of these other outlets, because these lies continue. And you feel stupid when you get proven wrong every single time because of a lie that you've, been perpetuating based on your media outlet. This is the number one target by them right now is Pete Hegseth. It's going to be. They know that everybody else is going to get confirmed. They want to at least disrupt one, and they feel like they got the best chance with Pete Hegseth. But, Tug, I'm with you. I think most senators are going to be able to get around the filibuster idea and get the amount of votes they need to get him through.
There's two things in my mind. One is that you're trying to get a victory when you haven't been able to have a victory. That's what the communist left. That's their goal here. Can we get somebody else's head from Donald Trump's cabinet so we can claim victory? And the other end is this. If Hegseth, who they now have a pretty good idea, is a system disruptor, we're talking about billions of dollars that stand to be lost by people that don't get sweetheart deals, don't get military contracts, that then we're really taking a look at what's going on with the Secretary of Defense and saying, okay, where's the spending going to be allocated, and is this guy going to play ball with us? And I don't believe that they believe he's going to. So they got to do whatever they can to get rid of him.
They better believe he's not going to. And that's the beauty of Pete Hegseth, and I think that's why our men and women in uniform support him so resoundingly, is they finally have a guy that has been where they've been, that has to conduct the operations that they've conducted. It's funny. I was talking to a buddy of mine. He lives down in Jacksonville. We served in the Navy together. And Pete Hegseth came up. And he just retired as a chief warrant officer. He was about 2 years behind me. We came up both enlisted at the time. He went through a chief warrant officer program, and God bless him. And he's an incredible dude from Augusta. Lives in Jacksonville now. And he was talking about this very same thing. And I didn't bring it up. He was like, what do you think about Hegseth? And I was like, love him. Thinks he's great. Yeah. He was like, so do I. And everybody, because all of his buddies are retiring, because he's my friend and retired, and all of his friends from his warrant officer days in the Navy are all retiring, and he's going to retirement ceremonies, and that's the discussion. How we plan, we as in Donald Trump and in America plan to return our military and our Pentagon to the greatness that it needs to be to protect America and American interests. And it's being discussed widely among people that serve. And that's why it's different.
Yeah, and it's a lot different also because when you get the testimonies, handwritten testimonies, they come from service members, and not just service members, but generals and admirals, a lot of admiral people that have actually wrote what they feel about him rather than saying, Elizabeth Warren, well, I have an unnamed source, an anonymous source that says they saw Pete grabbing a squirrel and banging it with a hammer. The reality of the emotion that the Democrats are trying to pull in, this is their last stop, and they can continue because they know that if they use women, especially crazy white liberal women, they'll be the ones that talk so much that they'll get out there because those are the ones that they use, and they pull the emotion and they play with their minds to make them feel this way. The problem is nobody believes them anymore, and where they need them, this isn't a national vote. This is happening on the Senate floor, so they're not able to influence as much. So they're just making a show out of it at this point, hoping that the American people will call other senators. That's it.
When you talk about the squirrel banging it with a hammer, half my family does that on any given Sunday.
Yeah, well, be careful, Peter might come.
They might be out there.
Squirrel Scrabble's fantastic.
Ready to make some soup or something.
Sure.
On a cold day. But no, for real, the thing is, they have nothing else. So we're going to, and Lowe's pointed it out, we're going to use an anonymous source over the source that's saying the actual source, the person involved in the so-called incident saying none of it's real. And that's why they'll continue to lose, because they can't grasp the fact that they have no input. No one cares what they think. And all of this is going to get passed against their will.
Yeah, look, that's the reason that this is a mandate. Because they don't really have any power. So they're trying, and they'll let them try and let them continue and show how foolish they are rather than working. I'm going to tell you these bipartisan bills and these bipartisan items and policy items are going to get passed because there's strength there and there's no fear.
I'm glad the fear is gone. I'm glad people are done with the mainstream media and their nonsense. I'm glad that people have finally gotten the message. Do not listen to them. Do not let them dictate anything that you think or say or do. Don't respond. That's the thing. When you see it on social media, don't respond to it, because that's just opening it up. That just creates an opportunity for it to be seen by more people, because that's what the algorithm does, right? Don't respond to it. Let it go. Act like it didn't happen. That's the way I handle this, and I hope you'll do the same thing. The woke bishop. I don't know if you saw this audio of Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and their wives sitting in the National Cathedral. Complete embarrassment for our nation. Talk about that next after Neil Bort's report and a Fox News update on Xtra 106.3.
It's time for the Bort's Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3.
Well, so far so good, and Trump has done many things to help to correct the disastrous efforts of Joe Biden. Chief among them is shutting down the border. I wonder how many illegals are getting across that border every day now. But there's one thing that makes me very unhappy. I've tried to understand it, and I think I've come to some satisfaction on that. Pardoning and releasing those people who stormed the Capitol on January the 6th, 4 years ago, including people who physically attacked and harmed our police. I would have liked to have seen them serve out their full sentences. There was no excuse for that. If some of them could have actually got their hands on Vice President Pence, Lord knows what would have happened. So why did Trump issue them pretty much a blanket pardon? And the only reason I can come up with is that he feels responsible. He feels they might have been there at his request because he asked them to do that, and that he owes them this, to issue the pardon and set them free. I disagree, but it's done and onward with Drill Baby Drill, refilling our oil reserves, getting rid of DEI. Oh, how I relished the news yesterday that the head of the Coast Guard had been fired out. She was a big pusher of the idea of DEI. And now, when it comes to federal government jobs, and more, I hope, people actually realize that it is going to take merit to get good jobs instead of a specific skin color or sexual orientation. Merit, that idea, is really frightening people. So, let's sit back and enjoy this adventure. Criticize when necessary, celebrate when appropriate. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
Tax season can be stressful, but it's also a wake-up call. It's time to think beyond April and plan for your future. At Master Plan Retirement Consultants, we're not just advisors, we're your partners in building a secure retirement. At Master Plan Retirement Consultants, we understand the challenges Georgians face. That's why we offer personalized strategies to maximize your retirement income, minimize taxes, and ensure you never outlive your assets. Join the Master Plan family and let us guide you through every financial milestone. Visit masterplanretire.com to schedule your appointment today. Master Plan Retirement Consultants, where your journey and destination are both important. Visit masterplanretire.com to schedule your complimentary consultation today.
Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
For half a century, glyphosate has affordably and effectively protected Georgia farmers' crops from invasive weeds. Without it, the impact would be felt beyond the fields, hitting Americans where it hurts, our wallets. That's why the Modern Ag Alliance advocates for farmers' continued access to essential crop protection tools so food prices don't rise even more. Get the facts at controlweedsnotfarming.com. Paid for by the Modern Ag Alliance in support of Georgia farmers.
And if you really think about it, technically, corn dogs are just beef Wellington in a different tax bracket.
Beef Wellington. Well, kind of.
Think about it.
The Kimmer Show every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app. WFOM and W292 EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. The 8 a.m. hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air.
Gone by the end of the day. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. President Trump wants everyone working in federal agencies' diversity, equity, and inclusion offices to be notified by 5 p.m. Those jobs are over.
President Trump is moving to end affirmative action in federal contracting and is directing all diversity staff to be put on paid leave and eventually be laid off. The move's following an executive order the president signed on his first day. It ordered sweeping dismantling of the federal government's diversity and inclusion programs.
Fox's Chris DeMeo. 3 tech companies are joining forces on artificial intelligence.
Oracle, OpenAI, and Japan's SoftBank will lead an artificial intelligence joint venture called Stargate. The 3 tech giants revealed the plans in a joint announcement with President Trump.
They're a new American company that will invest $500 billion at least in AI infrastructure in the United States and very quickly, moving very rapidly, creating over 100,000 American jobs almost immediately.
Other tech companies, including Microsoft, ARM, and NVIDIA, were named Stargate Technology Partners. Stargate's expected to start with a new data center in Texas.
Fox's Ginny Casola. At least 10 deaths are reported due to the winter storm hitting the south, 5 in a crash on an icy road in Texas, 1 in a crash during snow in Alabama.
The Deep South rarely sees winters or temperatures like this, which may explain why 2 people died in the bitter cold in Austin, Texas, and another died from hypothermia in Georgia. The death of a volunteer firefighter in Dale County, Alabama, is also believed to be cold-related. Investigators say he died in a house fire, likely started by using his kitchen stove to warm his home. Carmen Roberts, Fox News.
10 Palestinians are reported killed in an Israeli military operation targeting militants in Jenin in the West Bank. America's listening to Fox News.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
U.S. Navy Lieutenant Bradley Allen Foster's story is one of valor and selflessness. Bradley underwent
underwent air and combat training and was later awarded the National Defense Service Medal. Tragically, Bradley's promising life was cut short by a helicopter crash off the coast of San Diego, California. Tunnel to Towers provided his family with a mortgage-free home in his honor. Show your support for heroes like Bradley and their families. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. That's T2T.org.
Wake up with the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3 Atlanta.
Tug, Rhino, and Los until 10 on Extra 106.3. Glad that you're here. Thank you for listening. 404-741-1230. At Extra 106.3 across the social media platforms. On a cold Wednesday in Atlanta, Georgia, I just saw video that Clay Travis had actually posted on X, on Twitter. And it is of Seaside down in 30A, and there's snow on the ground. I mean, that's Atlanta's playground. I've been going to 30A since I was born. As long as I can remember, that was the first vacation I ever recall was to 30A. And never once have I even considered thinking that there would be snow there. And sure enough, there is. But there's snow in Charleston, South Carolina. There's snow in Galveston, Texas, Pensacola,
Our friend
Florida.
was sending us pictures of the beach with like snow. It was so weird.
In Picola.
I was like, well, I was like, what is going on? This doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I said, what has happened?
This global warming is throwing me off.
Seriously, is it cooling now? Or did we switch back to cooling?
I think we're cooling again.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Or do we just leave it climate change?
Yeah.
That way you can go either way with your politics.
Yeah. Now, wind's blowing too hard, climate change.
That's right. But that's the thing. Is the climate changing? Yes. It's always changed. There's never been a point in history that the climate hasn't changed. So, I mean, for that point, yes.
We were in an ice age like 5 billion years ago. Relax.
Right, exactly. Have you not seen those movies with that big old elephant that runs around, or a mammoth, or whatever?
Woolly mammoth.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
We used to not even be here. There were dinosaurs here. You know what happened? Climate change.
Yeah, right. That or some sort of and asteroid. Was that
I do know this. Dinosaurs did not build cars, drive around in cars. No. They didn't have any big buildings or anything like that, yet climate change wiped them completely out.
Still changed. The climate
It's crazy.
Those are, you're just talking about how it's unbelievable to see snow on 30A in Galveston, Texas, and just places that
looks awesome.
Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I saw a snow fight, a video of a snow fight in New Orleans. In the first quarter, they're out there having a snowball fight. And the fact that climate change and one of you brought up this morning a funny tweet that I'd seen last night that in 3 days Donald Trump's already cured climate change.
Solved it all.
It's just done.
Perfect.
Fixed it. It's amazing.
Done deal.
It's amazing.
And we were concerned about, what if it keeps getting warmer? That's over with. We're good. It was 12 degrees this morning when I walked into work.
Can I ask y'all one question though? And this is a real question. Will this cold snap be enough to stop the skeeters this summer? You know what I mean? Because that's what they always say. Well, we didn't have a cold enough summer, so the skeeters going to be bad. By golly, they better not ever say that. Not right now. They better not say that, because you can't tell me that this stretch that we've had, this has been the coldest winter I can remember.
Yeah.
Does it tamp down the skeeters? Are we good there? Does anybody know how to answer this? If you do, 404-741-1230.
The skeeters, will their birthing places be affected by this, so that when they emerge, they will not be as many?
That's right. That's what I'm looking for.
That'd be great.
That's what I need.
How does that happen?
Well, it's usually when they say, I've always been told, it's how much cold weather you have is takes care of how many skeeters you have. If you don't have enough cold weather, you get more skeeters, and vice versa.
So we need more cold weather, less skeeters.
Well, I think
you're okay
we're
with
getting
skeeters.
It. No, well, look,
because in reality, my dad bought this thing by the pool, because our pool, we got so many mosquitoes, and they were like just. I am attacked all the time. Don't know why. It's maybe my blood type. They just love to come.
I think there's something to
eat me up. Yeah, but they got this machine that made the smell of like cow poo. And it went in the backyard. Now, we couldn't smell it as humans, but the mosquitoes could.
I was going to say, that sounds like a terrible decoration.
Within 2 days, we didn't have a mosquito anywhere near the pool. They didn't bother us and all that. So I'm willing to forego cold days for that machine.
There are the old wives' tale, home remedies, whatever you want to bring it up, because I'm the same as Rhino. Like, this has been more recent that suddenly I have mosquitoes always chewing at me. Used to be my wife, used to be my kids. Now, don't mess with them, they just mess with me. And so, like, there's the natural stuff you can put out in the yard. We'll tell you, the coolest thing we've ever had was when we had, it was maybe a little gopher or something like that was in the yard. I put this little stick in the yard, and it had a little end of it, and it made this hypersonic loud noise.
My sister-in-law has those.
Everything has left my yard alone.
Yeah.
I was like, so there are ways to deal with this sort of stuff.
Kind of a natural remedy.
Yeah.
Okay, this is called the 1 acre corded mosquito insect trap. You have to have a propane tank. They're like $400 and $500, but boy, those things work good.
Mosquito.
And for a full acre, man, forget it. You don't have a mosquito anywhere near you.
1 acre mosquito trap?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. All right. And does it look like a little, I don't know, top of a tiki torch?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, I mean, like, it's big. You got to put a propane tank underneath it.
Oh, okay.
It's
I see. Yeah,
green
the
and-
mosquito magnet. Or at least the one I found one on Amazon. Here we go. Getting rid of the skeeters. That's what we're going to do at our house. Goodness gracious. Just so tired of putting up with this. And if I have to tolerate this cold, them skeeters better be dead. That's the trade-off. And I don't know who I'd demand it from, because I don't know who I'm going to hold accountable. But
it'd be the best $500 you ever actually spent if you don't like skeeters.
Well, I do not. I don't think anybody does. They'll drive you crazy. I'm a faithful
Give
guy.
me your card. I'll
Thank you. Thank you. You'll order right on up for me.
Yeah.
Thank you. Boy, what a friend.
I think if you buy 2, you get 1 like half off. So
Air Force Joe's on the phone about some skeeters at 404-741-1230. This is better than Swap Shop.
Hey, Tug.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Hey, Tug, to your point, I just had a CT scan out at Paulding Hospital, and talking to the technician afterwards about the cold weather and mosquitoes in the summer. He just happened to be a former pest and management control guy, and he validated that every time you had a cold winter, a cold snap, the mosquito infestation during the spring and summer was lessened.
Let's go.
Hallelujah.
Give me more cold days.
That's right. Well, look, if I'm going to tolerate, thank you, Air Force Joe, if we're going to tolerate this cold weather, then we need to get some sort of benefit out of it.
Yeah.
Because I dread getting out of my dread leaving the house. I just want to get into the office, get in my car. I want my car to be warm when I get there. I go out and crank it up. So if that is the case, then I'm going to quit complaining. This is it's like, Monday, we talked about it being Blue Monday. The third Monday in January is what some scientists come up with this formula. It's not, I don't know if it's real, but he said the third Monday of January is always Blue Monday because people have quit their New Year's resolutions, and the days are short and the weather's real cold. So look, I'm going to stop complaining because I read last night there's an addition to that. It said it's called, it's almost like Dry January, but it's Blue Monday where you stop complaining for 30 days. So I'm going to stop complaining about the weather if we're getting rid of those skeeters. I'm going to participate in this thing.
Well, what's starting today?
Yes. So I got 30 days that I can't complain.
Let me see tomorrow.
Your benefit will show up in April, May. It's like a check in the mail.
See?
You're dealing with it now. Check is coming.
Thank you. That's all I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I love it.
Wait, when's your birthday?
Today. Today. Yes.
I just looked at the date and I realized.
Yes.
Happy birthday, Tug.
Thank you.
There we go, Tug.
You're very kind.
You gonna have a drink today?
No. Mm-mm.
No.
No.
I broke mine.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's all right. Well,
I had a sip of wine.
You're back to damp January.
Damp January.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm into damp January.
Look,
yeah. I was celebrating your birthday last night. I was
Thank
like,
you.
tomorrow's Tug's birthday.
I appreciate
I'm
it.
gonna bring it up at one point. Let me have a sip of wine.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. It's
Joe.
Joey. Good Lord. Yeah. So
he doesn't like this.
It's a birthday. Everybody has one. It's
Congrats, you're old.
Well, yeah, no kidding. That's the truth. Especially coming from Joey, who's like 23.
What didn't work today, Tug?
Well, let me tell you.
What hurts this morning?
I'm embarrassed to tell you.
That's one less Christmas.
That's right. If we're doing the Kimmer countdown, it is. It's one less Christmas. You're exactly right. But y'all, my faith is important to me. And when I saw what happened at the National Cathedral, I was embarrassed. I really was. Because I don't know what that bishop thought that she was going to do. And she turned what could have been a very encouraging, inspiring, message to Donald Trump and to his wife and J.D. Vance and to his wife and anybody else in attendance, something encouraging. And instead, she took the pulpit and turned it into politics.
I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families, some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are faithful members of our churches and mosques, synagogues, wadara, and temples. I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands to find compassion and welcome here. Our God teaches us that we are to be merciful to the stranger, for we were all once strangers in this land.
You took a moment that could have been inspiring, encouraging, and I feel like we're in a cultural shift right now. You see it in college football, you see it in pro football, you see it on ESPN of all places, embracing faith. And instead of that, you went down a weird road that I'm not even sure applied to anything that was being discussed or has been discussed.
We have talked about it in the past. Remember, the communist, the far leftist, the globalist will use your values against you each and every time. Mm-hmm. And that is what she was attempting to do. Now, as she's pointing out these people who work in the office buildings and who work the late shift at the hospital and clean up this, you know why they're here? It's because they're able to be kept in a sort of indentured servitude. I'm only going to have to pay you this much. Sometimes I can even pay you illegally. And let's make sure that you don't report anything because you are not a citizen. Yeah. You're artificially driving down wages and the value of living in this country. And yet they will put it under the guise of, well, what would Jesus do? Well, Jesus didn't really have that much of an interest in let's make sure we have indentured servants in this country.
Right. And Jesus would not have been in favor of making people, putting people in a box. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't speak for the band, but I just by what the good book says. Do I want to treat people fairly? Yes. Does Donald Trump want to treat people fairly? As far as I can tell. Sure. He's given me no reason to otherwise think that. But I do remember when Jesus would lose his temper in the temple when people were selling things, and he would flip over the tables to say, this is wrong. And I feel like what's happened in America is wrong.
Yeah.
And I think most Americans feel that way. Most faithful Americans feel that way. Is there a path for people to come to the United States? Absolutely. But do you have to follow some sort of law? Yes. And the Bible talks about following laws.
Yep.
It's very pronounced. It's not like it's a mystery.
They're all welcome here. Follow the law. The reality is this isn't a real bishop. This is somebody, maybe one of the 50,000 that watches MSNBC, because that's everything she said in that was based on MSNBC. The LGBT community, all the trans kids are scared. They're scared of Donald Trump. Everything that she said was ridiculous and over the top for, I guess she wants to draw attention to herself. But the reality of it is this. It's very racist to say, well, who's going to pick your vet? Like, I don't understand how how they feel like that's okay. Who's going to pick your vegetable? Who's going to clean your garbage up at your office? Because this is all they are. Why don't you want to keep these people here to clean up after you? That's what I heard her say. And that's how disgusting I think it is that they play politics in any kind of service with the entire family there. You're there to do a job, not to play politics.
Your rule of law is based on the idea that you have a creator who is giving you freedom and the ability to decide your fate in terms of how hard you want to work, what you want to do, how you want to live your life. That's the freedom you've been given, the free will. But everything is under the construct of the civil society is a society where God is present and that free will exists and that laws have to be there to govern men. the basis for her discussion point is the illegality of being here illegally. And so don't tell me about what God would want or what Jesus would preach, because the entire social contract between us, God, and each other is that we will treat each other in a civil fashion, which includes paying attention to the rule of law. If you're breaking the rule of law, you do not have a civil society.
Of course.
Oh, you have a godless society.
That's exactly right. And those people, like I heard people talking about, well, what about those folks who came here when Joe Biden said it was fine to come here, and now they don't even have the CBP One app to use.
Good.
And I said, that is on Joe Biden, because the law was never open borders. It was never that. That is Joe Biden's doing. Those people are suffering because of what Joe Biden and his administration did. You can't lay that at the feet of Donald Trump, but they were trying.
The importance is, they didn't come here because of rule of law. They came here because of a policy change.
Yes.
The rules of law still say you're not allowed to be here. None of the laws have changed. Your influence and your regulation of policy is what did, where you basically threw the door open and looked the other way and just said, do what you're going to do. We'll catch up with you later.
If I am the president of a bank and I open the door and say, Tug, Los, come on in and grab whatever you want, you still broke the law. Whether or not I opened it or not, you still broke the law.
You knew better.
Yeah, you knew better. You can't just take, and these people know better. What they did on day one, which thank God on day one of President Trump's presidency, he rescinded the order that they did on Jan 20, 2021, which was open up our border and allow everybody in. I'm sorry that Joe Biden allowed all you in, and you knew better. You know it's against the law, yet you still illegally came here. Joe Biden said, hey, I'm opening the border. You still have to go through the right way to come in this, and you still ignored it. You still broke the law. You still got to go.
And I'm not looking at these people and saying that they're extremely at fault. Yes, they have broken the law, but I would have done the same thing given my living condition. If I was in Venezuela living under communism, I'd be like, I'm heading north. This is what I'm doing. But we still are going to have, especially if you've committed crime, you're out of here. And then there's going to have to be an evaluation period based on what you're contributing to society. If we're talking about kicking open the door of immigration, then you better have a pretty high standard of what you're delivering to people.
Yep.
As far as you are minding your P's and Q's, you're paying taxes, you're not living in the shadows. You better just not be, all right, listen, we brought in 5 million Uber drivers.
Yeah.
It's not going to be good enough.
Not good enough.
Sorry, there's other people that need to be here that can contribute larger amounts to society.
And you better not be harboring one of these criminals, otherwise you're going with them.
I was just so disappointed that happened in our National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. Just taking the good book and twisting it into a political message. That's gross to me.
You got to use your values against you.
8 o'clock hour brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier experts. 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com. It's cold outside. Don't let it be cold inside. 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com. When we come back, the return to an honest and truthful America. Next on Extra.
From the latest breaking news to the conservative voices you know and trust, your best new follow on social media is Extra 1063. We're at XTRA 1063 on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, and LinkedIn, and pretty much any social media you scroll through every day. And we drop exclusive giveaways, new daily content, and the latest breaking news from Georgia and across this great nation. Interact with your favorite Extra personalities. Get the latest on our live events and so much more. Follow at Extra 1063 across all your social media and keep up with Atlanta's only conservative voice.
Hey, Atlanta, it's Front Office Los. Let's talk about Howard Brothers and Toro. Are you ready to tackle your lawn cutting this season? I know it's really cold. Your lawn's dormant, but this is the time to get ready with your equipment because everyone at this point in the year is looking to gear up and get things ready. What do? Well, you get ahead of the game. Go over to Howard Brothers, look into Toro for the upcoming spring. Now is the perfect time to prepare for that trusted performance that Toro does provide to you. Toro mowers are built to handle Georgia's toughest lawns with precision and durability on your side. Again, what do? head to your local Howard Brothers. They've got all their locations all over North Georgia, and find the exact Toro mower to make spring lawn care work a breeze. Maybe you're like me, you like to have a nice looking lawn. Maybe you're a lawn care professional and you want to make sure that when those jobs are coming in, you're getting the precision work done and your clientele, they're all happy. That's what you're able to accomplish by picking up a Toro over at Howard Brothers. The grass is always greener when you take care of it with Toro and Howard Brothers.
Hey, Atlanta, it's Mark from the Safe House. And now the security riddle of the day. When times get tough, where do you keep your stuff? Answer, in a quality safe from the Safe House, of course. Don't go to a big box store and get a fake safe. That would be as effective as Joe Biden's fake border policy. For over 30 years, the Safe House has been providing the best quality safes on the market. Brands like Browning, Fort Knox, and Champion. And with the largest selection of safes on display in Georgia, we're confident we can help you pick the right safe to fit your needs. So drop by our huge showroom or go to atlantasafehouse.com.
So, the doc says I have ED. ED. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's just an abbreviation for a condition so many men have. If I was to be honest, I probably also have a little OCD. I know I have a great HMO. Heck, I even have 3 weeks of PTO. Look, don't let a few letters get you down. If you have ED, there's HELP. Go see Dr. Deal at Total Body Therapy of Georgia. He's an ED specialist that will turn your life around PDQ. ED happens to a lot of men as we age. And just FYI, Dr. Deal can give you back the confidence you need to perform on the JOB. So, ready to take the first step? Quit yelling WTF at your little BFF and visit tbtofga.com. Total Body Therapy of Georgia. They can fix your ED ASAP. And before you know it, you'll be screaming OMG.
I'm getting in the game. The world won't be the same. I'm good to go.
Call 404-777-1911 or visit tbtofga.com. Hi, my name is Steve from Marietta, and we hired ATL Turfco to build our dream backyard golf setup. They installed a large 4-hole putting green, a sand bunker, a short game area, and did a full conversion to artificial grass around the pool with decorative retaining walls. ATL Turfco was really creative. They were efficient. The installation was a breeze. Price was completely reasonable, and I definitely appreciated their communication throughout the project. I would definitely recommend ATL Turfco to anybody thinking about doing a backyard makeover. You can check them out online right now at atlturfco.com.
Who doesn't want a great smile? The world seems brighter because it is. Hey, it's a Kimmer. How's it going? You know, that's only one reason to see my dentist, Dr. Dina Giesler at Atlanta Smiles. The other reason, of course, is to take care of your teeth if they're going to make your life miserable. We all know that. But when's the last time you were smiling before you walked in the door like me? Because I know Dr. Dina and her staff are the happiest Kimmer babes you ever saw. We're going to fix me up, and I always take the gas. They tell me my best stories come out that way. And you can actually get a doggy right there napping in my lap, a little doggy. I said, go ahead, work away. Dr. Dina's a Navy vet, ranked a master dentist, which only 1% can say. She's been doing veneers since before anybody even knew what that was. My first visit was 30 years ago. Cosmetic dentistry, cleaning, bridges, crowns, especially keeping your teeth and gums healthy to last as long as you do. Veterans automatic 10% discount. Just tell them when you call. Atlanta Smiles, 404-262-7733. It's atlantasmiles.com. Your new smile's waiting for you. atlantasmiles.com. Tell them the Kimmer sent you. Ask for the doggy. atlantasmiles.com.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Good morning. Here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Wednesday, January 22nd. Former Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms is no longer in her position after President Donald J. Trump announced his administration would remove 1,000 appointees from the Biden era. Bottoms subsequently announced her resignation from President Biden's Export Council on January 4th, with her departure taking effect on January 20th, the day of the presidential inauguration. And the Georgia Bureau of Investigation has arrested a former Towns County deputy for allegedly making false reports after claiming he was shot during a traffic stop. 26-year-old Austin Bradburn reported that a driver grabbed his gun during a brief struggle, resulting in 7 shots being fired, 2 of which struck him. The GBI has not specified which parts of Bradburn's account were false. The alleged shooter has not been identified. A GoFundMe campaign launched to support Bradburn's recovery has since stopped accepting donations. With your headlines, Scott Rhino, Extra 106.3.
I know Board Op Goey Virgin River he's going to do sports in a little bit, but there's just something that just got to be said. And I saw Chipper Jones blowing up, advocating for Andrew Jones to be in the Hall of Fame. What in the world is going on with these crazy baseball writers that just can't get their head out of their backsides? Chipper Jones, I saw this morning, said if he would have played for the Yankees or the Dodgers, he would have already been in. This wouldn't even be a discussion. And I think he may be right.
400 homers and 10 gold gloves. All right, there's no one else who has anything more than 7.
That's right.
I mean, that's the basis. If you want to tell me that he's, hey, this guy only hit homers, he only hit 400. 500 is kind of the number that you need to hit in order to be an instant Hall of Famer. But the dude had 10 gold gloves in center field with 400 homers. What are we talking about? Because he burned out a little bit too early at like 32, 33. He'd been in the show since he was 18.
Yeah, that's quite a career, man. The fact that it's already happened is so silly. And it's almost like, and y'all tell me what you think, it's almost like the sports writers, they're like, okay, if nobody's voting for him, I'm not going to vote for him either. We're going to keep this conversation going. We're going to be the gatekeepers.
Because he's one of the nicest guys. I was lucky enough when I first came to Atlanta to cover the Braves, and that was 95 on. And, you know, getting to know him and talk to him, he's a really good dude. I know there were some personal issues that happened, you know, later on in his career and things that happened. But on the field, I don't think I ever saw a better center fielder. Not for the Atlanta Braves, for sure.
Not in our era.
Yeah, not in our era. And, you know, right now, the only thing I can relate to is a Ronald Acuna Jr. Watching Andrew Jones play and being in the ballpark when he played was one of the greatest experiences of anybody's life, because this kid played harder than everyone else. His swing, his dedication to the team, he deserves to be in there, and he should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer.
If you want to point out that Ken Griffey Jr. for what he was able to do and how he played center field, that might be Alpha 1.
Okay, but he's a Hall of Famer.
Okay, this is like then beta.
Right.
And again, we're still talking 400 homers and 10 gold gloves. No one played defense in center field with as much power. I mean, we're talking about we have to go to Willie Mays numbers to get gold glove home run combination in center field. Willie Mays.
I was watching highlights last night, and there were highlights that Chipper Jones was sharing on Twitter, X. And I just remember this one, and we'll say they were playing the Cubs or whomever it was. Dude just hits a laser beam to the gap. And out of nowhere, Andrew Jones makes this incredible diving catch. And all I see is Tom Glavine, Hall of Famer, turn around and just go, wow.
Yep. He made Hall of Famers go, whoa, what was that?
That's something.
Yeah, oh gosh. Yeah. I mean, if you asked in the locker room, if you asked Maddox or Glavine or John Smoltz about what happened in center field, that first thing was, I'm so glad that we have the greatest center fielder helping me out back there, making the play. I mean, I've seen him climb the wall so many times to take away home runs. I saw him get to balls that were impossible to get to, and somehow this man made the play every single time. And you're right, when you have Hall of Famers like that, and there are a lot more Hall of Famers on that team, and they tell you this guy is probably the best Chipper Jones.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, Tom Glavine, 100%. Maddox, all of them. Smoltz, all of them would tell you this guy needs to be in there, should have been in there before some of them.
Ridiculous that he's not.
Hopefully next year.
Hopefully.
He's got I think 2 or 3 more years on the ballot, but he's getting closer.
Yeah.
This is why I don't pay attention to him anymore.
Yeah,
remember what I told you earlier about baseball writers?
Yeah.
These people are problems.
They look at themselves as the gatekeepers.
That's right, but what a...
even a player like, and I'll say, I saw Ichiro in his prime. Because he was with Seattle
put in this year?
And was playing with the AL West. He came through Texas instantly. Definite Hall of Famer. It means he's one of the only guys, when you look at it, he's the only Japanese baseball Hall of Famer, and he's the second guy to have Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same year. That dude got every vote except one, and everyone's saying, "Who's the only one who didn't do it?"
Yeah.
Who's the one? Somebody said, "I know he's getting in, but I won't do it."
Yeah. I'm the gatekeeper.
Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. He showed up at 27, 28 years old and still got to 3,000 hits.
Well, I agree. He's the greatest player, but I'm not going to make it a unanimous decision because of precedent and history, blah, blah. I'm telling you.
Get out of your own
writers are a problem. And every time I was at Turner Field is when I covered them, obviously, most of the time through there. The writers are the ones who take all the king cones, and then you get no ice cream because they got them first. So they're just awful people.
It's a sloppy bunch.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, they smell.
Well, it's because they're traveling with the team all the time.
Yeah.
And so they're living out of a suitcase, and not all of them are all about looking as nice as you can on a regular basis.
No, they don't come there.
They eat all the ice cream and visit the gym none.
Yep.
Just a handful of times I've glanced, because when I would go down to the clubhouse, this is a special time. I want to make sure, and I'm only going down, once every 6 months. These dudes are there every day. Yeah. Sometimes they look at day. I would say this. When you ever saw Kevin McAlpin was ready to go on MLB Network whenever he needed to. Collared shirt, slacks, professional appearance.
Yeah.
Showered.
Writers don't have to do that.
Yes,
Right.
That's right. Ugh. Anyway, just wanted to get that off my chest.
Look at Kornheiser. That's your writer, by the way. Look at the way he looks today, all disheveled, his hair sloppy, doesn't shave, wearing ugly clothes. That's exactly every baseball writer.
It must be a tough life. Holy cow. We need some honesty. And we joked about this. We can't call it Make America Honest again because it's already taken, but Make America Truthful again. I think Lowe's came up with that one.
Again, we tried Maha, right? But that's healthy.
Yeah, so it's already taken.
You got to find honest.
Yes.
All right. Imagine you're in a country. Let's say you're in Venezuela. All right. Communists come to power, and the first thing they do is what communists tend to do. They start rounding up their political opponents, and they either put them against the wall and shoot them. That's pretty typical of what we've seen in China, Russia, wherever, Cambodia, wherever this stuff is going on, this is where it goes on. And then the rest of them, they try and create scenarios by which they can imprison them. Mm-hmm. So, for instance, Tug, like in China in the 1950s, it was when they went through their Cultural Revolution, you encouraged children to talk to basically report their parents for subversive behavior.
Yeah.
And so that's how they started rounding up these people in order to get rid of them. January 6th isn't any different. All right, you held people in prison 4 to 5 years, many of them where they didn't have any sort of due process. And I bring this up because right now you have Muriel Bowser. And this is a person who right now is kind of holding up whether or not the rest of these people are going to get out of the gulag there in D.C. Do you realize the speculation coming from these people that are having to pass their information? Because, again, they're not always given phone contacts. They're not always able to talk with the outside world, especially even their attorneys. They're passing along information. They're trying, reportedly, to get them to sign non-disclosure agreements so they can't tell the American people about the torture that they suffered.
Do not do it. I would encourage every one of them, do not do it. And I know it's probably hard because they are trying to just coax you in any way and scare you to death.
Not being imprisoned. Not, okay, we're just going to go ahead and give you your 3 hots in a cot and here's your bed. No, these people were tortured. Tortured in this country. That's how you lose the country. And again, the communists and globalists have never had a problem any time in history with torturing anyone that they consider a political opponent. And so, like, I'll give you another example. This is Brandon Straka, and he talks about how this pardon has freed me from being bound to the lies of my plea deal. Here are the words to describe how that feels. I did not say, take it, to encourage the crowd on January 6th to take a shield from an officer. That was a lie created by an FBI agent and embraced by the prosecutor to justify charging me with a felony to force me to take a plea deal and to try to destroy my reputation for portraying me as encouraging violence against the police. These people are now talking.
Yeah.
And you will start to recognize, if you're strong enough to do so, that January 6th and everything that went on was entrapment, and it was meant to entangle Trump's
intimidate
and get after people that they considered the public enemies, the political enemies of the communists in this country.
And that
you almost lost America.
Absolutely did. But not for the reasons that the mainstream media report. It's the reasons that Los is bringing up. It's the reasons that Rhino has brought up. And that's why it's so important. And I wish even Neil Bortz would reconsider his point of view on that. And because when he was talking this morning, I wanted to be like, what's your source, dude? Like, what are you reading? Are you reading CNN? Because it sounds like you are.
Sure. It sounds like you got it right from mainstream media, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. It does. What is your source? Why are you relying on a source that you know will mislead you? They've proven they'll mislead you. Why would you put your trust there?
Yeah.
And if you compare MSNBC and CNN and all, if the message is all the same, that should give you an indication that something ain't right.
Yeah, there's nothing right in the way that all of this has been handled. And just kind of going back to that, too. I mean, when we talk about how many police officers died in Jan 6th, 0. The reality is I was on the same page as Carlos. When Neil was going through his thing, my first thought was, so what is precedent for bear spray or spray in the eyes? Because I've seen it on the other side so many times where they're out within 48 hours. So if most of these people have served now 3 or more years, they've already served their time. It's already done. I'm not happy with, neither are any of you out there with any kind of violence against any police officer.
Of course not.
None of us ever have sat and said, hey, they deserve this. But I also at the same time go, Brian Sicknick didn't die because of that. Brian Sicknick had two problems, and it had nothing to do with what happened on the day before. He died of natural causes. He had a stroke. Has nothing to do with what happened on Jan 6. So the reality of what's going on is, again, the communists is trying to imprison as many of their political opponents. They just found a more clever way to make it seem like they're not a third world nation. But guess what? We're returning America back to what it was and what it should be, which is the truth and honest.
And one of the things that will not be talked about when it comes to January 6th, and it doesn't absolve anyone of what they did, but the reports of you had an incitement that came, whether out of fear or anything else, that you had areas where the police fired upon the protesters, rubber bullets, canisters of mace and everything else. And so if you want to talk about the incitement of the crowd, something incited them.
Yeah.
Was it them themselves? Was it the people that were amongst them that were telling them what to do? This is this whole convoluted mess that I think the best thing is, if you're going to pardon a January 6th committee for crimes that they committed, and they did because they accepted the pardon, that's an admission of guilt. Then what's the problem with also then doing the same thing with January 6 members who are also admitting to guilt in the process and time served? These committee members will never have any time served.
No, and they deserve it because they took evidence at the end and then got rid of it, so then no one could figure out what actually happened. They got rid of the emails. They got rid of the messages. They got rid of the...
Illegally.
Exactly. Illegally. They will never be held to account. And does that mean because one person's not held to account that nobody should be? No, of course not. But at the same time spent is through the... These people spent more time than most people will ever spend in jail for lesser crimes.
Yeah. Look, the reality to me is Dr. Fauci killed millions of Americans. President Biden, while he was president, more people died from the mishandling of COVID than they did during the Trump era. 250,000 or more people have died of fentanyl overdoses because of policies related to an open border that Kamala Harris was put in charge of as the border czar. These are all relatable in the same way, except the only difference is no one died at the Capitol on January 6th except for Ashley Babbitt.
The left is piling on Joe Biden, calling his pardons his last bad decision. Next on Extra 106.3.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
After being on the road for 9 of their last 10 games, the Atlanta Hawks head back home tonight to face the Detroit Pistons at 7:30. The Hawks are 5-5 in their last 10 games with a 22-20 record, good enough for 6th in the Eastern Conference. The Pistons are a half a game behind Atlanta with a 22-21 record after winning 7 of their last 10. In baseball news, legendary lefty closer Billy Wagner was voted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. He spent his last season pitching with the Atlanta Braves. He joined CC Sabathia and Ichiro Suzuki in his Hall of Fame class. For Extra 106.3 Sports, I'm Joe Virgin.
Energy efficiency is a good thing. Good energy efficient windows to keep the heat that you're spending money on, with your HVAC system, to keep that heat inside the house and not go, just creep out. When doors are not energy efficient, the same thing happens. So right now, I don't know if you thought about this, how much has your house been through? Your biggest investment, how much has it been through? How much weather has it battled? Storms. We've had incredible rains. Now we've had it snow twice. Are you kidding me? In Atlanta, Georgia, snowed twice in a matter of 2 weeks. Unbelievable. It's once in a lifetime. I can't remember a time that it's done quite like it has. So this is the coldest year. I guess the reason I bring it all up is because you can get new windows. You can get new doors that are energy efficient. You can get new siding for your house or have it repaired so it can stand up to the elements that it's faced with in Atlanta, Georgia in 2024 and 2025 as we move into this year. And the great thing about it is there's a company that can take care of all of it for you. Doors, windows, siding, gutters, roofs. Man, I'm getting into how much abuse that your roof has taken this year. What I can tell you is that Southern Exteriors will have a foreman on site to be there in case there's any questions, to manage the project as it's being done so it's done to your standard, which is correct. I mean, that's got to be the standard, right? It's got to be done right. They'll do it right. And they'll give you this, 0% financing for 12 months. Or you can do 10% off any job, no matter how big the job. There's a couple things to consider, but whichever way you go, make sure you're getting your house, your biggest investment, taken care of. Southern Exteriors, 8779 Southern, southernexteriors.co.
Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watch Company, where quality and value make the difference. Locally owned and located in Sandy Springs, offering you the finest selection of unique diamonds, sapphires, rubies, and emerald jewelry, as well as other fine gemstones. Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watches has been servicing Rolex watches for over 30 years, and their Rolex-trained watchmaker will service your watch in their state-of-the-art Rolex service center in their store. Lee Brandt uses only genuine Rolex parts, and their estimates are free. Drop by Lee Brandt in the Trader Joe's Shopping Center in Sandy Springs or visit LeeBrandt.com.
It's a new year and a new opportunity to save at Jim Ellis Buick GMC.
For a limited time, save $7,500 off MSRP on select 2025 GMC Sierra 1500 models at Jim Ellis Buick GMC.
Plus, save an additional $2,500 with a qualifying trade for a total savings of $10,000 off MSRP. With the GMC Sierra 1500, you get it all: performance, luxury, and style.
Intentionally crafted to exceed your expectations. And for a purchase experience that will exceed your expectations, visit the folks you know and trust, Jim Ellis Buick GMC.
Start online at JimEllisBuickGMC.com or shop in person in Chamblee off Peachtree Industrial, just inside the perimeter, or in Beaufort off Highway 20 near I-985. Jim Ellis Buick GMC.
We are professional grade.
Offer applies to 2025 GMC Sierra 1500 SLT 5.3-liter V8 models. Example stock number 5155039. MSRP $67,570. After $10,000 in Jim Ellis discounts, sale price is $57,570. Excludes TABT and state fees. $2,500 trade assistance available. With 2011 or newer trade-ins, expires 1/31/25. Hey, Georgia neighbors, it's time to expect more from your Medicare Advantage. Discover Sonder Health's custom plans tailored just for Georgians. Saunders offers unique benefits, including special plans for those living with chronic conditions. Some plans even come with grocery or gas benefits to support your overall well-being. Sonder Health makes it easy to get the coverage you need. See for yourself what today's Medicare Advantage can do for you. Visit SonderHealthPlans.com, a healthier state of life. Sonder Health Plans is an HMO and PPO with Medicare contracts. Enrollment in Sonder Health Plans depends on contract renewal.
It's here. It's called winter. Is your furnace ready to make sure you're warm inside and you keep the cold weather outside? Well, if you're not sure, you need to talk to the folks at Central Heating and Air Conditioning. Central Heating and Air is one of the few second-generation locally owned HVAC companies in Atlanta. With Central, you're not just a number, you're a member of the family. It's been that way since 1947, and it's still that way today. Give Central a call at 770-GET-HEAT or go to centralheat.com. Central Heating and Air Conditioning can fix what ails your house and possibly your family with home ventilation and air quality products. Central has packages designed around health using variable speed, fresh air ventilation, air purifiers, dehumidifiers, and more. Carrier products, carrier warranty, carrier peace of mind. Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier expert since 1947. Call 770-GET-HEAT or go to centralheat.com. That's 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com.
We're smart, we care. We're Central Heating and Air.
Wherever you are in Georgia, you can stream Extra 106.3 and crystal clear digital with the all-new Extra 106.3 app. Get Extra's live on-air stream in real time, or go back and listen to all your favorite shows, Neil Bortz, or original podcasts, no matter where you go. Grab the Extra 106.3 app now and start streaming.
The lovable left. They have turned on Joe Biden. And I guess I understand why. I mean, he was one of the many reasons that the left lost so impressively. I mean, I don't know how you lose that bad, but there was a lot of reason behind it. Joe gets a lot of the credit or blame.
And he and his wife didn't care if they lost.
That's right. Well, after they booted him to the corner.
They were in your issue that you're going to read up on is because now they're just really upset that he didn't care about anything to have to do with the party anymore.
He kind of burned it down on the way out. serving up Kamala to take his place. And then all of these pardons. And it's interesting because Huffington Post said on Joe's way out, he made one last bad decision.
One last. So they admit that they had a lot of them.
It's like a walk-off.
Okay. That's exactly right. Look at that. Walk-off. There's one more. Exactly right.
Here comes the pitch.
They talked about the preemptive pardons for the January 6th committee. They talked about all the pardons for his family. Mm-hmm. And as upset as they were about those things, the thing that they were most upset about is the fact that he has set the precedent that Donald Trump may be able to do something similar. That's why they're mad.
Yeah, I saw.
That's why they're mad, because they're going to give Donald Trump the open opportunity to do so. Now,
but here's the funny part. How many family members did Trump pardon in his first
Well, I remember there being reports on CNN and MSNBC and all the networks that he was going to preemptively pardon his entire family.
Whole family. And Jared Kushner's going to get away with it.
Yeah. And
zero. That's how many.
So they could have come after Jared Kushner and all his family.
Zero.
That man.
Oh, and they did.
That man made it a point to pardon more Democrats in like Rod Blagojevich.
Yeah.
Than you had with everything when it came to Joe Biden. Was he an ally? Did they serve us? Okay, great. Like Rhino will get into it next hour. He looked at the people that didn't come through for them like, you don't get a pardon.
You ain't getting nothing.
Nope.
Y'all left dangling in the wind. But the other part of this is the folks at Huffington Post. They're like, well, but they didn't even do anything wrong. They did nothing, and now it's making them look guilty, like they did something. They're kind of fortifying the line that Democrats, they don't do anything wrong. They don't break the law. There was no reason for those pardons. Mm-hmm. And to that I say, why'd he do it? Why'd he do it?
An accepted pardon is an admission of guilt. This is what was found going back to Burdick versus United States in 1915. Now, keep this in mind about this story. This was a pardon issued to a newspaper editor, and he didn't want it.
Yeah.
They were basically telling him, we're going to pardon you so that you can talk about your sources, and we want the information. He's like, I didn't do anything wrong, and I don't want to reveal sources, so I don't want your pardon because that's an admission of guilt.
Yeah.
That's how that got established. If you accept a pardon, it is legally an admission of guilt.
Absolutely.
And now they're mad because the Democrats look so guilty.
Uh-huh.
And I would contend that they are.
Yeah.
So be mad at Joe Biden all you want, but he did what he, I guess, felt like he had to do, knowing that these people had broken the law, knowing that these people were guilty. And he used a power, like it or not, that is available to every president.
Yeah.
Huffington Post, now just huffing and puffing.
Right.
Because things that happen make them look exactly like they are, wrong and guilty. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt in my mind that January 6th committee is guilty. There's no doubt in my mind that Joe Biden's family, the ones that I didn't even know existed, I didn't even know their names.
Francis?
I had no idea Francis was a boy or girl. Had no idea.
I didn't realize the whole structure of the entire party. It really was the Biden criminal family.
It really was. And we take this a little bit deeper. It wasn't Biden just saying, hey, Jan 6 committee. It was Benny Thompson, the chairman of that committee, who begged for a pardon for him and all of the committee. It wasn't just decided upon. Why would they beg for a pardon if they didn't realize that, they're guilty. They don't want them digging into what was done. This is guilt. This is what happened. This is disgusting. And I don't expect at the end of this that Donald Trump is going to sit there and give a preemptive pardon to any family member, because you know what? Their family is doing exactly what they need to be doing. They've already been attacked left and right over the past 4 years by the Biden administration. And the one good thing is it was proven that they weren't guilty.
You can always point out, and it's always kind of it's a variety of how this is always said, light is the best disinfectant, truth is the best disinfectant, whatever the line you want to go with. Joe Biden used the guise of, my family was going to be targeted by the next administration. Well, if you didn't have anything to worry about because the truth is the best disinfectant, what's to worry about it?
Right.
I mean, Donald Trump on his way out wasn't worried about anything with his family. That's why there was no pardons issued. If there was nothing there, then there was nothing there. And an investigation, all it would do is bring light to the fact that you didn't do anything wrong.
That's exactly right, man. But they knew that they couldn't do that.
Couldn't survive it.
They could not. It wasn't going to pass muster. You and I were going to be able to look at the facts and make a clear judgment. The shell companies, automatically that throws up a little red flag for me.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know a soul with shell companies.
Yeah.
I know no one.
None.
And I'm not sure why you'd need one unless you're moving money around that wasn't supposed to be moved around. Why would your entire family need a pardon if you weren't doing anything? And I know it sounds like a broken record, but I have no reason to think otherwise.
The reason why people look into shell companies is because that is how money gets laundered. That is one of the ways around the world that it happens. So when you have 20 and none of them are providing any noticeable good or service, all right, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Because if you're telling me that the good or service that's being provided is being provided by Hunter Biden, his expertise in the energy field, I'll tell you he's not an expert in the energy field. All right, you're peddling influence. And they were doing so and moving money around to hide it as they laundered it back into the family.
Here's a good question for you.
Allegedly.
James Biden. Allegedly. James Biden. What is his business that he makes millions and millions of dollars and has all these... well, because he doesn't have one.
That's right.
The reason you have a shell company to hide millions and millions of dollars
broker.
is... yeah, he's not even that anymore. He went from an insurance broker to political... I don't even know what they call it. A political consultant.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, a consultant. You know what a consultant is? Somebody who takes money for doing something like that. So the reality of it is this. These people are all crooks. It was a huge influence peddling scheme. They stole money. They continue to steal money. They divided it among the crime family. They all have their little shell companies to hide the money because somebody's going to look and go, well, I'm in insurance. In fact, I own 2 agencies, and I don't make as much as James Biden made over the past 2 years.
The Huffington Post has a problem with this because you can't defend it. That's all it comes down to.
Yeah,
rightfully, you cannot defend it without looking terrible. You cannot talk and be upset about pardoning January 6 people when Joe Biden just made sure to grant his entire family, people that he knows and people that he helped enrich, including himself, 10% for the big guy. It ends up being much bigger than the Teapot Dome scandal. It makes a Teapot Dome scandal, which, by the way, when it comes to an administration actually enriching itself, as far as here's the executive wing, here's the White House enriching itself, Joe Biden makes the Teapot Dome scandal look like tiddlywinks. It looks like nothing. It looks like candy on Christmas and compared to getting cars and boats and yachts.
And then to add to it, there's new reports that we've discovered even more shell companies.
Even more. Stuff out of Romania.
That's right.
Never would have considered a couple of these places.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars filtering into these shell companies for innocent people. Innocent people. These Bidens, definitely innocent. I mean, when I think about the Bidens, I think about people that will do whatever it takes to enrich themselves on the back of Americans and disguise it as public service.
In the end, Joe was as he's always been. He was about himself and his family, and that's it, in their own enrichment.
And they did it, and they accepted pardons because, as we've established and discovered, you don't have to accept them. Reckon why they did.
I mean, this is a guy who lost family in a car accident, and his injured son, he's like, get in a suit. We're taking a picture as I'm getting sworn into the Senate because it'll look better.
Goodness.
That's who he's always been.
The pardons Joe Biden forgot to make. We'll talk about that after the Neil Bortz Report and Fox News update here on Extra 1063.
Time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 1063.
Well, so far so good, and Trump has done many things to help to correct the disastrous efforts of Joe Biden. Chief among them is shutting down the border. I wonder how many illegals are getting across that border every day now. But there's one thing that makes me very unhappy. I've tried to understand it, and I think I've come to some satisfaction on that. Pardoning and releasing those people who stormed the Capitol on January the 6th, 4 years ago, including people who physically attacked and harmed our police. I would have liked to have seen them serve out their full sentences. There was no excuse for that. If some of them could have actually got their hands on Vice President Pence, Lord knows what would have happened. So why did Trump issue them pretty much a blanket pardon? And the only reason I can come up with is that he feels responsible. He feels they might have been there at his request because he asked them to do that, and that he owes them this, to issue the pardon and set them free. I disagree, but it's done and onward with Drill Baby Drill, refilling our oil reserves, getting rid of DEI. Oh, how I relished the news yesterday that the head of the Coast Guard had been fired out. She was a big pusher of the idea of DEI. And now, when it comes to federal government jobs, and more, I hope, people actually realize that it is going to take merit to get good jobs instead of a specific skin color or sexual orientation. Merit, that idea, is really frightening people. So, let's sit back and enjoy this adventure. Criticize when necessary, celebrate when appropriate. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
Attention Warriors, are you a veteran ready to navigate to success after service? Tune in to the Warrior Alliance Network. Join us as we spotlight inspiring stories, provide essential resources, and connect you with a community dedicated to empowering veterans. From career advice to health and wellness tips, the Warrior Alliance Network is your go-to hub for post-service success. Tune in Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. on Extra 106.3. Join us on the mission, the Warrior Alliance Network, where warriors thrive together. Visit us at thewarrioralliance.org for more information.
Have you considered securing your family's future, protecting your hard-earned assets, navigating complex legal matters with ease? Nelson Elder Care Law is here to guide and empower you and your loved ones. As a family-owned and family-focused business, our mission is to exceed your expectations, offering absolute assurance and peace of mind. With our trademarked Absolute Protection Trust and expertise in customized estate planning, Medicaid crisis solutions, probate administration, guardianship, and conservatorship, Nelson Elder Care Law protects what matters most to you. Imagine a team dedicated to safeguarding your legacy every step of the way. Our flat fees ensure transparency, and our customized plans prioritize your family's specific needs. Are you worried about protecting your family and your legacy after you're gone? Let us help you ensure you're absolutely protected from whatever curveballs life may throw your way. Schedule a complimentary legacy planning meeting with our legal team in Marietta or Woodstock today. Contact us at 678-250-9355 or visit at nelsoneldercarelaw.com.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural hair products from New Nordic. Purchase at newnordicusa.com or CVS.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. The 9 a.m. hour is presented by Southern Exteriors. Quality and precision you can rely on.
Backing the Blue. I'm Chris Foster. Fox News. President Trump's decision to pardon almost all crimes related to the January 6th Capitol riot, including assaults on law enforcement, is criticized by the nation's largest police union and the Police Chiefs Association as sending a dangerous message. And there's more criticism now of former President Biden's decision to issue some preemptive pardons.
Missouri Republican Congressman Eric Burleson tells Fox News Radio he's looking into legislation to eliminate the pensions of those who received a preemptive pardon from President Biden, such as Dr. Anthony Fauci and former Congresswoman Liz Cheney. Burleson argues if they didn't do anything wrong, they shouldn't need a pardon.
You have people that are basically admittedly have done something wrong to the level of it being a felony, and yet they're still collecting a pension on the taxpayer's dime.
Other Republicans would like to see some type of congressional investigation into the pardons. Democrats have argued the pardons were necessary to protect those who, quote, defended our democracy and could face alleged political retribution from President Trump. Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
Employees of federal diversity, equity, and inclusion offices are being put on paid leave to be eventually laid off. President Biden wants employees informed by 5 p.m. today that their jobs end effective immediately. Fatal crashes, hypothermia, at least 10 deaths are blamed on the winter storm making its way through the south. Houston Mayor John Whitmire.
Just assume we have icy roads wherever you want to travel. The answer to it is stay at home.
Snow and ice that wouldn't be a big deal in the north is causing problems in places where they just don't have the equipment and infrastructure to deal with it, and people aren't used to driving in it. One day's snowfall records fell in New Orleans, Pensacola, Florida, and Mobile, Alabama, all getting around 8 inches. There have been 9 arrests, including the owner. In connection with the ski hotel fire in Turkey, at least 76 people have died. America's listening to Fox News.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
U.S. Navy Lieutenant Bradley Allen Foster's story is one of valor and selflessness. Bradley underwent air and combat training and was later awarded the National Defense Service Medal. Tragically, Bradley's promising life was cut short by a helicopter crash off the coast of San Diego, California. Tunnel to Towers provided his family with a mortgage-free home in his honor. Show your support for heroes like Bradley and their families. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. That's T2T.org.
The news and talk I can trust. Extra 106.3.
Talk Rhino and Lowe's until 10 on the Morning Extra. The app is the best way to listen, so if you are dialed in there, we appreciate it because you can go back and listen live or on demand to any of the discussions that we've had today, and there's been some good ones. Maybe you missed Neil Bortz this morning. You can go back and hear what Neil had to say because we had a big disagreement with Neil this morning. It was cordial. But it was clear that we all stood in different positions when it came to the discussion of January 6th and the pardons. And so if you missed that, I would encourage you to go back and listen to it.
That's fine. That's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
No, I think it's great. I think good dialogue, good debate, good discussion is what we're here for. And for him to have a different perspective, he just created even more of that dialogue.
And I would imagine we have listeners that would be different from my own or your own or Tug's own or Rhino. It's just what it is. It's just, okay, fine. But that's the cool part about politics. It should be a discussion. Yeah. It is the arena of ideas.
And you come to the best conclusions when you actually discuss some things.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. And none of us are threatening Neil because of his opinion, and he's not threatening us.
He's threatening Joe.
Yeah, well, but
out with you, Joe.
That's for other reasons.
That's exactly right.
But the reality is, this is exactly how things get done, and this is why you need any kind of diplomacy. This is why what'll happen with Russia and Ukraine soon will happen because of diplomacy and talking and saying, hey, this is what's going to happen. Also some strength, but the reality is we've got to talk things through. Yeah, a lot of us don't agree with some of the more violent J6ers and what they did, and we think they should have paid. And based on each outcome of what they've done, 3 years in jail, some of them, that's even more than what they should have done for some of the quote-unquote violence that they, perpetrated.
We've had scenarios where, let's say you go over and you burn down a police training center, and you might catch a month or two, if not an overnight stay. Like, there's some silliness about that.
Sure.
There's then assaulting police officers who, salt of the earth, we need to take care of our officers. I don't think that's any sort of question. And when that happens and somebody gets like 18 months, that's frustrating. What I'm saying is that when you start applying a different set of precedent to January 6 people for what they did, and suddenly it's 5 years, I'm not saying that they didn't pay some debt to society. 5 years is 5 years.
Yeah, it is.
18 months, people are like, well, I just did 18 months. Maybe that's not enough. Maybe it needs to be 2 or 3 years for assaulting a police officer. 5? But 5 when other people are getting significantly less for doing just as much?
Under a supposedly blind legal system.
Yeah, I'm in support of every officer that you have a problem with these people being pardoned. But I also think we have to have the discussion of, Tell me what the pound of flesh is, and then I will say, okay, now that you have decided what the pound of flesh, but what is the pound of flesh? Is it 10 years?
Yeah. Well, where's the outrage of Biden's clemency to the Waverly 2 that killed a police officer, a Virginia police officer in 1996? Where is the outrage of all the other pardons that Biden did on his way out of people who actually killed police officers?
The only people mad about that's the Huffington Post, and they're just worried that it sets the precedent for Donald Trump to pardon his accomplices, if you will.
Do you know the name Joe Mixon?
Yes.
Yep. Joe Mixon is an NFL running back. Joe Mixon, when he was in college, had a horrible moment. A girl called him a name in a bar, and he punched her in the face. Dropped her. It was on camera. And Joe Mixon at that point was removed from the football team, and here's the penalties that he suffered. And we had one coworker who was like, he should never play football again. And my point was, that's not going to be how it's going to be. But tell me what the pound of flesh is. And if Joe Mixon delivers the pound of flesh that you believe, then evens it up, well, then you can't complain anymore.
Right. Because he's paid his debt to society.
But to say that somebody then does not have the ability to ever work, to ever operate in society again, depending on the severity of the crime, that's not justice. Justice is, tell me what the pound of flesh is. That's what they gave you, and now we're square.
Yes, that's paying the debt to being square, paying the debt to society.
Michael Vick did 2 years in prison, in federal prison, and then paid back more than $12 million that he owed his creditors. And now the guy's on national television every NFL Sunday talking about football because he paid his debt.
Yeah. Yep.
Pay your debt. And what's your debt? That was the problem with January 6th. They could not. They were holding people indefinitely.
Yeah, they're holding them on these ridiculous crimes, too, and parading and obstruction, in addition to some of the violent ones. And again, nobody is condoning any of the violence that happened. Even breaking windows, we never condoned that. We said, pay for the windows, do your time, and get out.
Right.
And that's what should, continue. They're playing politics with these people's lives because they don't agree with their politics. It's okay not to pardon them for some reason.
They're less than human.
They're less than human. But when President Joe Biden pardons Leonard Peltier, who murdered 2 FBI agents, nobody has a problem with it. Nobody's bringing that up. They don't care. Those are 2 officers that were killed. So far, President Joe Biden, and those are the 3 that I know of. I don't know the rest of the crimes of all the people that he pardoned, but there's 3 officers of the United States, 2 of them federal, 1 of them a local Virginia police officer, all killed, and all of them were paroled, and none of you have a problem with it.
The mainstream media has conditioned people to care about January 6th.
Sorry, not paroled, pardoned.
Yes. The mainstream media has conditioned people that consume their product that they're supposed to care about January 6th more than the ones that you mentioned. Even if the crimes are even more egregious in the ones you mentioned,
because it was a setup.
No one would have any idea about those had you not said them.
Correct.
Because the mainstream media, they're not going to report on that.
No.
That's bad for the Democrat Party. That's bad for Joe Biden.
It wasn't in the Huffington Post article?
No.
Wow, that's
never
weird.
brought up.
Never brought them up.
People are conditioned on what to care about. They're told what to care about. And most of the time, people are just happy to be in the know.
Yeah.
So if somebody brings it up, they'll have a response. Doesn't have to be a right response. Doesn't have to be a correct response. They're just happy to be able to have some water cooler talk and be involved in the conversation.
Yeah.
Which is silly and ridiculous, but that's what it boils down to, in my view.
Yeah, I mean, the left acts like children, right? This is a game for them. They just throw things. It was a Nazi salute. It was this. Silly. It was that. I mean, this is a back and forth. And you know what? There are plenty of Republicans on the same side. They're going to send pictures of AOC with her salute. Elizabeth Warren, Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, and her Nazi salute. They're going to send back and forth these pictures while we should be working on really important things. But
Trump
the reality is, Trump's not getting involved. The adults are back. Let the children be children. If you guys want to go out there and play with the kids, go ahead and play with the kids. But let the adults do the adulting and get these things done. I'm glad he pardoned all of them, and I hope he continues to pardon. Well, he hasn't pardoned all of them yet. I hope he continues to pardon every single person at this point, because you know what? It's over. This is done. We allowed the government to set up this entire charade. Nancy Pelosi should be responsible for the death of all these. So should the mayor. They were given the opportunity to bring in National Guard and protect them. They didn't. They're the ones who are responsible because they're the ones who probably placed the orders to have these officers attack the citizens, invite them in, then attack them, and expect no response.
Do you think Fonnie Willis is like, hey, Joe?
How about that pardon? She's firing off emails. Look, let me do my impression of Fonnie Willis right now. Deet, 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 deet. Beep, beep. The number you've reached, Joe Biden, is no longer available and no longer in service. Yeah, Fonnie Willis is one of the many that didn't get any pardons from. In fact, a lot of the prosecutors. Let's look at them. Alvin Bragg, no pardon. Letitia James, no pardon. Jack Smith, no pardon. And, of course, our own Fonnie Willis, no pardon. They've got to be shaking in their boots at this point.
Seems like they would be nervous knowing that they colluded with the White House, and it's already been reported. It's already been uncovered. There's evidence of it. Nathan Wade even admitted to it. So it seems that those people that he didn't pardon, those people are probably very nervous right now and wondering, what's next for me? Will I get caught up in some investigation, like when they're investigating Joe Biden's shell companies and they're investigating the lawfare and they're investigating all the things that should be investigated by the Republicans. And it doesn't matter if these people get in trouble or not. It doesn't matter if you're able to hold them account. The most important thing is the American people knowing what happened. And that will be enough, because those people will never be able to hold any power, hold any office, hold a position that is meaningful, because nobody's going to believe them. Nobody's going to trust them that they're going to do a good job. Their reputation is ruined.
I don't know this to be true. I've just read it from a couple of different sources that when presented with Jack Smith looking for a pardon, Joe Biden made the point, well, he didn't come through for us, so he's left to his own devices.
Yeah. But isn't this the reality
It's
of...
dirty.
It's filthy.
But isn't that the reality of the communists? We used you to where you want. You're not really useful to us.
You got to go.
You got to go, and we're not going to protect you. Fonnie Willis isn't going to get protected. Judge Juan Merchant, that is going to be an interesting one. This guy used complete lawfare, had a conflict of interest, refused to recuse himself, even though he knows his daughter was working for not only Joe Biden, but also the Kamala Harris campaign. He continued to put on gag orders in this. He's going to be investigated. Same thing with Alvin Bragg, Letitia James, and Fonnie Willis. They deserve what they get. They sided with the communists. They knew what they were doing was wrong. Now that's why you see a Fonnie Willis going, please, appeals court, don't allow them to ask me questions.
Joe Virgin River, I have a question for you, sir. I know you're a busy man. Did you ever see Scared Straight? So you're aware of when they would bring people into prison and they would go like, oh, God, like, I don't want to do that, because inmates would yell at them and let them know what it's really like.
Yeah.
If you want to tell me what's going on with Mark Zuckerberg or Jeff Bezos or anybody else.
You think they're getting scared straight?
This is the very real scenario of when you cooperate with these people and it doesn't work out for them, you're the first one who gets burned.
That's right.
You know, that is every time in communism. You go along with it, you think it's going to be good, and then you're the one who's the first against the wall when things don't work out. Because they got to blame somebody.
Right, and they ain't going to blame themselves.
So I believe you're seeing these tech billionaires that recognize we went along with this for a while and we're seeing what you did with it. We don't want any part of this stuff anymore. It's a version of scared straight communism.
How smart would it be for somebody like Jack Smith, which I don't believe he would do it, but how smart would it be for Jack Smith
states
to go to Canada?
Yes. Well, no, to admit. Look, they told me to do this. It was them the whole time. I did what I felt like I had to do. No different than Zuckerberg did what he felt like it had to do. And put yourself at the mercy of the court of public opinion.
And Fonnie.
Let's
get them all to flip.
Yeah. I can't see Fonnie flipping.
I don't think either one of them, any of them will.
Alvin Bragg might be the only one who I can see. Yeah, he kind of seems like a guy who would flip as quick as possible. He seems weak as can be. I think Alvin Bragg or Letitia James might. Juan Merchant is going to ride this course. He feels like he's protected. I don't think Fonnie Willis is so stubborn. She doesn't walk away. She's not walking away from a fight, and it's a losing fight on her. I don't know why. If I were her, I'd tuck tail and save myself because they threw you out the way they did Keisha Lance Bottoms and everybody else they used, Stacey Abrams. You're done. You're gone. Nobody cares. And they're setting you up to be, look, the reality is, what did Francis Biden do wrong? What did James Biden do wrong?
Unsure.
None of us know. We know what they did wrong, and he refused to offer them pardons to protect them. Ooh,
It's like
they're in
Fonnie
trouble.
is fighting for the steering wheel on the Titanic.
Yeah, she is.
And she's like,
Good
let
call.
me drive. I'm
Yeah,
driving.
yeah.
I'm driving this. Who cares? It's sinking. It does not matter. This is tragedy. This is awful.
Mm-hmm.
And yet she's still fighting to be the captain of the
She's
sinking
fighting
ship.
for her life. She really is.
It's her career.
Yeah.
It's her life moving forward. It's going to be very difficult because you have people that make horrible mistakes. They move on to other communities and they may get an opportunity to, whether it's be a mayor, be a police officer, whatever it is. Hers is so public.
Yeah.
That unless she can pull out some sort, not even a victory, just save some face. Like, I think you're probably better off if you throw yourself at the mercy of, they brought me to the Rose Garden. Here's what they told me I needed to do.
And let me tell you, they will be.
Because the Biden administration, again, 2 times brought her to the Rose Garden.
That's right.
And both times she's like, well, we didn't really didn't get into what they discussed.
And you could use the defense of, I was scared.
Yeah, sure.
I told them I don't want to do this, and they told me I better. You would win in at least a portion of the court of public opinion because of the example that Zuckerberg has already set.
Yeah.
And I don't believe any of that stuff. I think Fonnie was in hook, line, and sinker. She'd all about
sure.
it.
I do too.
But if she were smart, if Jack Smith were smart, they would go the other way.
I would.
Because what is keeping them is so committed to whatever it is that they were trying to accomplish, knowing that it's going nowhere and that you're on the sinking Titanic. What is the benefit to you? The benefit is to say, those people are gone. I don't owe them anything anymore. And that's why now I'm asking for your forgiveness.
Yeah, people are very stubborn about having to be confronted with the truth or confronting people and telling everybody that they've been liars for the entire time. They're not going to do that. I don't expect Fonnie Willis or any of these people to do this. And I will say this. This is why you don't need to give threats to these people. I mean, any of the threats that go to Fonnie Willis or any Democrat because you don't like what they're doing or how they're doing it, that needs to stop because karma takes care of these kind of things, and it will take care of Fonnie Willis. Look, she could have been running for governor over the next 2 years. She's not now. Why? Because she has dug her own grave, and it's a political grave. I don't think any threats need to be. Now, I will say this.
I've not seen
She'll
any
get
of
the
that.
karma. She'll get the karma that she deserves. And the karma that she deserves is up to, I don't know what that karma is. Maybe she's doing the right thing. I don't know. It's not for me to judge. So she will get what's coming to her. That's all. It's not going to be in a violent way. It's going to be in a legal, lawful way. And, well, guess what? She doesn't have a pardon to get around it.
We'll go a minute or two long in this segment, but I think this is worth bringing up. That Donald Trump is now saying what I said on Monday, that this ceasefire is not going to hold. It's impossible. It's not going to hold.
Yeah.
You had Hamas the day after the ceasefire was announced, waving Hamas flags in the Gaza Strip saying, we're just regrouping. They're telling you what they're doing. Donald Trump is not an idiot. He sees exactly what I see, what Rhino sees, what Lowe sees, what everybody sees, that this is just a holding pattern until Hamas can regroup and do exactly what they've always done. They're still dedicated to the destruction of Israel. This ceasefire will not last. Mark my words. It's coming. And when it does, don't act surprised. Donald Trump's not acting surprised, and I hope the Israelis won't be caught off guard. I don't believe they will. I don't know why they're doing this. Maybe they're trying to build goodwill because they've done what I think is the Lord's work in the past year, over a year since October 7th last year. So this isn't going to hold. Just you have to be aware, and I hope that everybody is prepared to see what's going to happen. And it's scary and it's sad. And I think the Israelis by accepting this ceasefire, have made the wrong decision, and I think it's the wrong decision for everybody, including the United States and the world.
Yeah, I mean, this ceasefire, I said it a week ago when they even announced it, that number one, it's going to fall through before they even get the ceasefire done because Hamas will violate it. Guess what? They did. Then I said, hey, even when they do get this done and they release prisoners, Hamas won't stick to it. This has been a holy war. I have been paying attention to Israel and the way it's been handled with, not only Iran, but all their proxies and what goes on time after time. It's inevitable that Hamas will break this. And if it's not Hamas, it's going to be Hamas plus, right?
It'll be somebody.
Hamas plus. I think, the thing about Netanyahu, the only good thing, the only silver lining, Tug, by releasing these political prisoners is they know we can't kill them in jail, but once they get back on that battlefield and come at us, we'll take them out that way.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
I've not thought of that.
Considering the pagers and everything else.
Yeah.
The Mossad is not kidding around. I wouldn't be surprised if here, and by the way, we just happened to drop a monitoring device into your leg.
Yeah, right.
If you want it out, you got to cut it out.
Yeah, exactly. God, I hadn't even thought about it. None of that has crossed my mind.
You're free to go. Here's your pager.
I like where your head is at.
Here are your belongings back.
Freaking go.
I don't remember a pager.
Yeah, let's get rid of all these fools. 9 o'clock hour is brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution since 1999. Big enough to do multiple jobs across Atlanta, and with your biggest investment taking a beating with all this crazy weather. Get the stuff that needs to be done taken care of, whether the roof, the siding, the windows, the doors, the energy efficiency that you can get from Southern Exteriors. 8779 southernexteriors.co. The same old Democrats. They've gotten a new playbook. Next on the Morning Extra.
To me, the big story of this year was CBS, ABC, NBC, CNN hiding the sad decline of Joe Biden.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Who doesn't want a great smile? The world seems brighter because it is. Hey, it's a Kimmer. How's it going? That's only one reason to see my dentist, Dr. Dina Giesler at Atlanta Smiles. The other reason, of course, is to take care of your teeth, or they're going to make your life miserable. We all know that. But when's the last time you were smiling before you walked in the door like me? Because I know Dr. Dina and her staff are the happiest Kimmer babes you ever saw. We're going to fix me up, and I always take the gas. They tell me my best stories come out that way. And you can actually get a doggy right there, napping in my lap, a little doggy. I said, go ahead, work away. Dr. Dina's a Navy vet, ranked a master dentist, which only 1% can say. She's been doing veneers since before anybody even knew what that was. My first visit was 30 years ago. Cosmetic dentistry, cleaning, bridges, crowns, especially keeping your teeth and gums healthy to last as long as you do. Veterans automatic 10% discount. Just tell them when you call. Atlanta Smiles, 404-262-7733. It's atlantasmiles.com. Your new smile's waiting for you. atlantasmiles.com. Tell them the Kimmer sent you. Ask for the doggy. atlantasmiles.com.
You know the old expression, I love it when a plan comes together? Well, with our First Liberty Notes, this has been so true. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about our family's company all the time right here on this station. For over 30 years, we've been the local lender who said yes when the big banks say no. A couple of months ago, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Folks from airline pilots to physicians to even pastors are now earning 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of local small businesses. If you're a qualified investor with a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. Go to firstlibertyga.com and see if our First Liberty Notes are right for you. Go to firstlibertyga.com. That's firstlibertyga.com.
First Liberty Notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. SEC accredited investor status must be verified. Securities not offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Join A Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Madelon and host Tug Goward for the weekly radio show Back Your Blue. They will highlight special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. This week's guests are Brian Whidbey and Christy Canner of the GBI Cold Case Division. Tune in on Saturdays or catch up on all past episodes wherever you get your podcasts or at thepodcastpark.com.
No one plans on going to jail, but when it happens, it's important that you know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds, where we believe everyone deserves deserves a second chance. Whether your loved one's been arrested in Cherokee, Clayton, or any of the other metro Atlanta counties in between, A Second Chance Bail Bonds works fast to help expedite release within hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 404-BAIL-OUT or online at atlbail.com.
It's here. It's called winter. Is your furnace ready to make sure you're warm inside and you keep the cold weather outside? Well, if you're not sure, you need to talk to the folks at Central Heating and Air Conditioning. Central Heating and Air is one of the few second-generation locally owned HVAC companies in Atlanta. With Central, you're not just a number, you're a member of the family. It's been that way since 1947, and it's still that way today. Give Central a call at 770-GET-HEAT or go to centralheat.com. Central Heating and Air Conditioning can fix what ails your house and possibly your family with home ventilation and air quality products. Central has packages designed around health using variable speed, fresh air ventilation, air purifiers, dehumidifiers, and more. Carrier products, carrier warranty, carrier peace of mind. Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier expert since 1947. Call 770-GET-HEAT or go to centralheat.com. That's 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com.
We're smart, we care. We're Central Heating and Air.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Good morning. Here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Wednesday, January 22nd. Former Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms is no longer in her position after President Donald J. Trump announced his administration would remove 1,000 appointees from the Biden era. Bottoms subsequently announced her resignation from President Biden's Export Council on January 4th, with her departure taking effect on January 20th, the day of the presidential inauguration. And the Georgia Bureau of Investigation has arrested a former Towns County deputy for allegedly making false reports after claiming he was shot during a traffic stop. 26-year-old Austin Bradburn reported that a driver grabbed his gun during a brief struggle, resulting in 7 shots being fired, 2 of which struck him. The GBI has not specified which parts of Bradburn's account were false. The alleged shooter has not been identified. A GoFundMe campaign launched to support Bradburn's recovery has since stopped accepting donations. With your headlines, Scott Rhino, Extra 106.3.
9 o'clock hour is brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution since 1999. Doors, windows, roofs, siding. They do it all. Anything to the outside of your house. And they will give you right now 12 months, 0% interest or 10% off any job, no matter how big it is. Call them 8779 southernexteriors.co. In a minute, we're going to get to the story about the additional, because we talked about this in the last segment, the additional bank accounts, the shell companies that James Comer and the Oversight Committee have located. We'll get to that in just a minute. But right now, it's the same old Democrats, Los, but they seem to have a bit of a new playbook.
They need to get a new playbook. You know, that's the idea. When you have, let's say, Justice Kavanaugh, and Justice Kavanaugh is going to sail through to a nomination, and so what do the Democrats do? We need to cook up some people that he may have sexually assaulted. Well, here's the problem. Justice Kavanaugh kept detailed notes his entire life of everything he was involved in. So when Blasey Ford is up on stage telling you about this, what he did, well, what dates? I don't know. What happened? Right. I'm not sure. Well, okay, you're a Democrat plant. Then they went and found 2 more. None of it worked out. It's the same thing they did with Clarence Thomas. Mm-hmm. All I'm pointing out is that it's the same Democrat playbook over and over. And if you want to know why it's falling on deaf ears and why when Pete Hegseth gets this report of, so the sister-in-law to your wife, your ex-wife, said that you assaulted her and they were hiding and you were drinking too much. It's like, okay, we'll go talk to her. Turns out his ex-wife said, no, none of this
happened.
None of this occurred. But it's the same playbook.
The former sister-in-law says so.
So tired.
So we're going to take it.
It's so tired. Like, find something new. Tired. At least COVID was new and inventive in order to be able to take away freedoms. At least it took a global pandemic where I said, hey, respect. But the rest of these are regular, all the time, the same playbook.
It is the same exact playbook. And it is, hey, let's pull on the heartstrings emotion. We can get white liberal women crazy and we can make them our little army. And the reality is they don't care about lying. They don't care about not telling the truth, and everybody else will follow in suit. Keep doing that because it's what lost you an election and will keep this country red for a long time. I like that, Donald Trump kind of joked about, well, what happens after this when J.D. Vance takes over? Do we call it CAG, Keep America Great? It's a horrible name compared to MAGA. But the reality is they're going to Let them continue doing this. Because nobody is paying attention. This is Peter, Peter and the wolf. The left is Peter. They cried wolf so many times and so many lies have been exposed that I don't think they're going to believe him anymore. Your playbook stinks. Keep it going. I like it. Keep it going.
It will be just like it has happened with the mainstream media. Nobody listens to them. Nobody takes them serious. Only people that are invested. Like I have a dear friend I told you all about yesterday. Actually said that, a felon, the rule of law mattered. A felon shouldn't be president, and the rule of law died the day Donald Trump was inaugurated again. It's people like her, whom I love dearly, sweetest woman. Her politics are wacky. Mm-hmm. But it's those people. Those are the only people listening to the mainstream media anymore. No one else believes them, and no one else cares what they have to say. But the Democrats don't know that, because they hear the loud cries of those that small minority of people that buy into the BS. And the party's been so hijacked by hard leftists that there's no way that party is going to move back towards the center. I don't believe. And if it is, it's going to take a lot of years of just taking a beating like they just took from Donald Trump and the American people. It is going to take multiple election cycles of those kind of beatings before they'll ever realize and recognize, you know what, maybe we should do this. Mm-hmm. It'll either never happen because the leftists, the communists have it, or they'll take a long time to finally start to see the light of day.
Remember, this is a group that tried to disparage him on the way in. Mm-hmm. He did so well that now they have to disparage on the way out, rather than just arguing the idea that, does he have enough experience? Does he not?
He's talking about Hegseth. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Like this is what goes on. All of this stuff. If you just want to have a discussion, let's say, for instance, with Donald Trump, and it being in the arena of ideas, I think Trump has a terrible idea here. Somebody else does not. Okay, let's have a debate, and then we'll vote.
Yeah.
Instead, we're seeing the Democrat playbook just turn into, well, how do we eliminate these people? This is very much straight out of the Obama playbook. This is Obama-era politics. Remember, when he got to be the state senator in the state of Illinois, it's because he was able to eliminate his competition.
Absolutely.
It wasn't because he beat him at the ballot box.
No, and that's going to continue. That was Biden's plan, too. Biden's done that so many times throughout his 50 years in the Senate, 47 years, and then the vice presidency. He has attacked not only his political opponents, but opponents to his family, like Joe Biden's husband. They went after them. This is their game. They have to. But they learned it from the communists. This is the Communist Manifesto that Carlos has brought up so many times. They are losing. They will create any kind of storm that they can manipulate you, your mind, your thought, in order to get them on your side. But it's fallen on deaf ears now because people, again, it might work. Let's say the economy gets great in the next 2 years. We have a really good midterm and the economy continues to go. That will give these people life again to try to tear everything down because nobody's going to care about anything because they're like, hey, money's great. It's what happened the first time.
I talked to a friend of mine. I brought this up earlier in the show. If you'll bear with me just a second if you heard it. But I talked with a friend of mine who just retired from the Navy. Chief Warrant Officer 3, just exceptional sailor. And he brought up Hegseth, and he said, Hegseth is a guy that I can get behind. He was like, I would want to follow that guy into battle. He didn't say Milley. He didn't say any of these suits that have held the position of Secretary of Defense for the last, I don't know, 30, 40 years. He said Pete Hegseth was the guy that I would follow into battle. And this is a dude that just spent 23 years in our Navy and is disgusted by what the Pentagon and the left has done to our military recruiting through the floor. We got great people in this country that could fill great roles and be exceptional sailors and defend this nation.
Yeah.
We have many men and women that could be great war fighters in the Army and the Marine Corps, Air Force, Space Force, Coast Guard, and none of them want to. I wouldn't advise my son to go in the military. Mm-mm. This is a military that I love, dearly love. And to see what they've done to it is so disheartening because it puts a stain on the people that are there for the right reason, and it puts a stain on the American flag, and I don't want to see neither of those things happen. When I hear my buddy CW03 Martinez go, dude, I could follow that guy into war, that lets me know we're headed in the right direction.
Good enough for me.
Absolutely.
That's all I needed.
You know, they've done this for so long, though, because even my father was like, son, I don't want you going. I don't want you enlisting. I don't want you going to the recruitment office. I don't want that. And, part of the reason was he didn't trust the people that sit behind a desk that have all the ribbons who have never been there. And, a lot of the soldiers that, I've talked to throughout my entire life, they always told us the same thing about the guys at the desk, the guys that don't do it, they're not the guys with the dust on their boots. Pete Hegseth is. That's why he garners so much respect, but it's also why he garners so much hatred from the left, because he actually has merit, and they don't want to put people in merit-based. They want to put a guy in a dog mask or a man in a dress up there instead, with no kind of experience whatsoever as well. They may have experience in certain things.
Look, even if they have experience, you've lost credibility.
You lost credibility? Well, yeah, absolutely, because you know what? You failed. Because mental health, you shouldn't be there. A guy in a dog mask, are you going to follow him into a battle? Listen, if he can sniff out a bomb and I have him on a leash and he finds me the bomb, maybe.
I'm not following that guy. I wouldn't follow that guy into a gas station.
Not on a leash?
Not even on a leash?
I wouldn't follow that man nowhere.
What if you had one of those things around your neck where you could, zap him?
Yeah, he needs
a correction collar.
Yes, it is.
Collar.
That's exactly right.
Correction collar.
My fear is that they would like that, and I don't want any part of that. I wouldn't follow that person. I would do an about face to get away from that person.
Okay, let me ask you this, though. Would you, if you're in the mess hall, put down a bowl of water for him to have? No? God, you're mean.
No. I know, right?
You're
I would
so
be called
transphobic.
It's very clear. Joe Biden may have even had more accounts than we knew about. James Comer, he says we have located more accounts, more shell companies, and more money.
We believe we found some more accounts that will answer some more questions, and hopefully we can prepare to close this investigation and present our findings to the American people.
How many bank accounts are associated with Joe Biden?
With Joe Biden, that's been a harder nut to crack there. We found some accounts. We found some different expenses and things like that coincided with some of the Hunter Biden LLCs and shell companies and things like that. But at the end of the day, the Biden family were the ones that were taking the initial wires and laundering them through. We found two specific checks that went from the Biden family influence peddling to Joe Biden personally, one for $200,000 and one for $40,000. So we've identified $250,000 in direct payments that Joe Biden received from his family's shady influence peddling schemes.
So now you understand why his entire family got a pardon. You didn't know that before. I didn't know that before. And now we do. It's so very clear the corruption that was happening with Joe Biden and his entire family. Because he had to get everybody involved, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He had to get everybody involved.
Well, because look at his kids. Okay, Ashley Biden, who wrote in her diary about the abuse of her father and taking showers too long with him, her, and you have a drug addict on the other side. Do you know how loose lips those two people are? So, yeah, you don't think they called Francis and was like, hey, this is what we got going on, the family biz. I made, $2 million for not doing anything. Yeah, these are loudmouths. So you got to pardon everybody that's been involved because, well, Francis, who, was an ambulance chaser, basically lawyer, is now a multimillionaire with shell companies and accounts of $200,000 here and there. You have to protect them.
I wonder how we're ever going to get, at least, maybe it's the Biden legacy. Maybe that's what ends up being that pound of flesh. Because when he's going to have the presidential library, there's going to be because every president gets one.
Yeah.
But you're going to be able to go, here lies the most corrupt president that we've seen probably since the 1800s.
Yeah.
Maybe ever.
I mean, you're going like Woodrow Wilson era sort of stuff.
I think it's even probably deeper than that. You were talking about 50 years in the Senate, too. I mean, you're talking about other things that we probably have no idea about. And again, these people are complete scumbags. They really are. And the Bidens are going to get away with it, and they're going to go. But this is why I think the pound of flesh, Carlos, is you still continue to investigate them. Bring them. Put him out there in front of everybody. Yep. If Jack Smith wants to go ahead and release his documents, we're going to release ours, and we're going to do it because You can't plead the fifth. There's no need to. You're not going to actually get prosecuted about this. So let's start telling the truth and hound them. Make their lives miserable. Make them in front of courts. Make them have to answer questions to Fox News and everybody else every time you bring them into that chamber.
I love the way it sounds. I think at some point we all pay for the deeds that we do. And look, if you're doing good deeds, you'll be rewarded for that too one day. I believe that. Now, on Earth, we might not get to see it, but it's okay. Their due is coming. It's all about knowing at this point. I think knowing and not being able to squeeze out of that, you'll always be known
Might
as
be
a
the
scoundrel
only
and
thing
a
to
traitor.
really have.
Yeah, you'll be known. They'll be known as traitors forever. And that pardon tells me that. That's what it does. It says these people are traitors to your country.
You had to pardon your entire family.
The entire family.
Not one member.
So nobody even knew who Francis is.
And it's all and blanket back to what year?
2014. What was going on back then? Because hunters went back to 2014 too.
Yeah.
Can't figure it out. Somebody will.
This crooks.
When we come back on Extra 106.3, the worldwide leader may have found their faith. Next on Extra.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
After being on the road for 9 of their last 10 games, the Atlanta Hawks head back home tonight to face the Detroit Pistons at 7:30. The Hawks are 5-5 in their last 10 games with a 22-20 record, good enough for 6th in the Eastern Conference. The Pistons are a half a game behind Atlanta with a 22-21 record after winning 7 of their last 10. In baseball news, legendary lefty closer Billy Wagner was voted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. He spent his last season pitching with the Atlanta Braves. He joined CC Sabathia and Ichiro Suzuki in his Hall of Fame class. For Extra 106.3 Sports, I'm Joe Virgin.
You're setting a lot of goals for 2025. Big plans, new adventures, and Subaru of Gwinnett has the vehicles to get you there. The 2025 Subaru Forester is the same reliable SUV that earned the trust of drivers for decades, but with more adventurous style and more advanced safety technology. And you'll love exploring in the 2025 Subaru Crosstrek. It gives you up to 34 miles per gallon and the power of a 182 horsepower Subaru Boxer engine, adding plenty of go to your adventures. The 2025 Subaru Outback shares your adventurous spirit. With up to 32 miles per gallon and 9.5 inches of ground clearance, you can explore your world with confidence. And the 2025 Subaru Legacy is what happens when we put the best of Subaru into a sedan. The turbocharged 260 horsepower Subaru Boxer engine makes driving a thrill. Plus, every Subaru model comes equipped with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive. Love is out there. Find it at Subaru Gwinnett, Satellite Boulevard in Duluth, or shop online at SubaruofGwinnett.com.
The future of business in Georgia is bright, and Georgia Power is a driving force behind the businesses and organizations that are vital to the growth of the state. Just ask Mike Plant, President and CEO of the Braves Development Company.
There's 7 power cubicles that power the ballpark and the battery. And when we're building everything with 8 different contractors and this site's on fire, one of my guys came in one day and said, "Hey, we need to figure out where we're going to put these cubicles." I said, "All right, what do they do?" They said, "Well, it's all the power and the juice for the whole stadium. We're going to need to work with Georgia Power. They need a location." Right away, they saw our vision, they got our vision, they understood it, and they knew they needed to be a big part of that. And that's what I love about working with them is I've never heard no from them. I've always heard them say, "All right, I understand your vision. I understand what you're trying to accomplish. Give us a little time. We'll come back to you with a plan."
To learn more about how Georgia Power is helping businesses big and small, visit GeorgiaPower.com and tune in all year to discover how they're powering the future of Georgia.
Hey, it's Rhino for True Prep. True Prep on Cobb Parkway is your one-stop shop for emergency preparedness supplies, including freeze-dried food, water filtration, first aid, and more. They also have a large selection of firearms, including a huge selection of AR-15s, firearm accessories, and ammo at the lowest prices around. They are locally owned and operated. You can visit their store in Marietta on Cobb Parkway or online at trueprep.com. That's TRUprep.com. Prepare today for a worry-free tomorrow at True Prep.
Being in an accident really bites. You need people around you that are going to make the whole process easier to deal with. I just described David Van Sant at Van Sant Law. He used to work for the insurance companies. What an advantage. He knows who to call, what to say, and they're not going to pull the wool over his eyes. Give him a call. Van Sant Law, 855-GA-INJURY, vansantlaw.com, 855-GA-INJURY.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40, and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-880-6363. That's 1-800-880-6363. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-880-6363. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Keep up with all of our shows and the latest headlines by following Extra 1063 on Instagram, X, Facebook, Truth Social, and all your social media platforms. Plus exclusive giveaways and more. So follow now at XTRA 1063.
Tuck, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra. The final segment of the final hour of the morning show. Then Beck, Clay, and Buck. And the local afternoon show with our own Yosemite Sam, the Kimmer, Pete, and Flounder, 3 until 6 on Extra 1063. ESPN did something that I did not expect. Well, a couple things that I didn't expect. Before the national championship game, they played a message from Donald Trump encouraging the players on the field. Did y'all happen to see this? It was like out of the blue. Yep. It was out of the ordinary. It's something that they used to do at football games all the time when they'd have the president record a message for the teams. But they hate Donald Trump so badly at ESPN, they would have never, at least until now, never have done this, and they did.
I was very surprised.
Me too, dude.
Because we're still in the heart of Inauguration Day. And then suddenly at the national championship game in Atlanta, again, it also helped that it was in Atlanta, and it's college football, here's Donald Trump. Here's President Trump giving you a well wishes to everybody, and let's go.
If you would have had me bet my life on it, I would have lost my life. If you would have asked me day of, will ESPN air a Donald Trump message before the game, I would have looked at you and said, Los, you've lost your damn mind. Not a chance. No way. And then it happens. And then it's seeming that ESPN has even gotten caught up in this cultural shift that we're seeing with players embracing their faith at the college level, at the pro level, actors and actresses in Hollywood, comedians like Russell Brand. It is a new day in America when people are so open about their faith. It's something that I haven't seen in years. I love it. I embrace it. I think it's great. But I never thought the worldwide leader would do it too.
He's a faith-based guy. So is Will Howard. So is that Ohio State team. I was glad you asked about that because they've talked so much about that and how much they leaned into faith. But then ultimately, because I had a coach that used to say the other team prays too. Yeah. Right? Yeah. It comes down to being able to do it on the field. And I think that's what impressed me most about Ohio State is they had a bunch of guys that could have left, right? The portal allows you to stay. And they're going to be well rewarded. They're going to be drafted high. But it seems that both faith in above and faith in one another is what got Ohio State through. As you talk to them, what did they share about
that was something Emeka Ibuka and I talked about this when I went to visit with Ryan Day and several of the players before the Tennessee game, a few days before that. And, look, we hear a lot of times people talk about their faith and people sort of dismiss it. These guys were sharing their faith and reaching out and baptizing guys on campus, not just football teammates. And it became something powerful to them, not because they thought it was going to be handed to them to win a game, but it changed their relationships. and it changed selfishness and made it go away. It was impactful for them. Didn't mean they were going to guarantee they were going to win. And Notre Dame had a lot of that going on as well. You heard Marcus talk about that a lot this year, that it made guys selfless. And I think that's the power in it. It's not, some magical thing they're going to go down and hand you the trophy if you do it. It just helps you maybe relate to your teammates differently.
I can't pretend to know what Scott Van Pelt's heart is or Reese Davis's heart is, but I was glad to see them discussing this cultural shift that we're seeing. But I was more surprised that ESPN freaking allowed it. I mean, they told Sage Steele when she interviewed the president, here is the script. You will read it. That's what made her leave. That's the kind of heavy-handedness they use at the Worldwide Sports Leader. So for those two to be able to discuss the faith of these teams, I thought was surprising, a different direction for the network, and encouraging to me.
Let me ask you this, though. What do you think happened after? You think they got called into the office and been like, look,
no way
we're going to let you get away with that, but don't do it again? I mean, I'd hope that they come out and speak, but this is the kind of divide we don't need, and we sure don't need an ABC affiliate throwing this in our face and taking it away from us. Thank God they allowed that to happen.
I think it's just it's a different time. And
it's the shift. They see the shift. They see the writing on the wall.
You had this weird emergency situation where ESPN went full-on woke politics, and everybody who took part in it got blown out. And then it turned into, well, you can't really speak about conservatism or conservative ideals or religion because the other side won't allow that either. So we'll just try and go right down the middle. When faith is part of the story, it's part of the story. And in this case with Ohio State, it's a big deal to them. So you're telling the story. You're doing a disservice to your audience if you're not telling them what the big motivating factor was. If their motivating factor was millions of dollars, you would tell that story. If it was anger at like the old coach of the other team, you would tell that story. In this case, they're pointing out faith and who they were in each other was a big part of it.
It was welcomed. It was welcomed.
That's part of the story. That's all.
But you got to remember, though, they had cut out the prayer on several of the playoff games ahead of time, and people criticized that. And I don't know if that made
the backlash probably to them.
Maybe, but look, how many times has that been brought up? Why did it matter this time? And I think it's part of that bigger cultural shift.
Well, you know what I'm saying? If I'm an executive with ESPN and I have a level mind and I'm smart, I say, what is our biggest sport? Where do we have the SEC network, the ACC network? We are a college football, the most conservative sport. What else is our sport on ESPN Plus? Golf, the second most conservative sport. Shut up about religion. Shut up. Let's play this game. It's a new time. They're not going to stand for it. Yeah, because I think that backlash from saying, hey, he's not allowed on the stage after winning the bowl and being the most important player on the field because he said something about God, I think there was a lot of backlash. Or not showing a national anthem or any kind of prayer or anything. The backlash is enough. And I think a lot of people, especially, like I said, their two money makers are the most conservative sports in the entire sports world. You got to be careful. And I think when it comes down to money, they don't want to lose anymore.
And they brought up the fact that there was this big baptism on the campus at Ohio State. And that is a big part of the story, which is what you were pointing at, Lowe's. That's such a huge part of the story, selflessness, playing for each other. And my wife didn't have a dog in the fight. She's not an Ohio State fan. She's not from Ohio. She's not a Notre Dame fan. She's not Catholic. She's not from Indiana. But she was drawn to that part of the story. She said, I'm cheering for Ohio State for that specific reason. It was such an impactful part of the story that maybe it was, man, this is just the story. We're following it where it leads, like an investigative reporter would do. But it's just never been so out front, especially on ESPN, or at least in the last 20 years.
If this was a player with cancer or a child with cancer that they were deriving strength and energy from, that would be part of the story. If this was a coach who was dealing with an illness, it'd be part of the story. This just happens to be part of their story. Is this faith in one another? Mm-hmm. That's the story.
Yeah.
And if you have someone, and there's always going to be somebody, it's just how it is. But if you have someone who says, well, I don't think that should be part of the story, well, then you don't want the story.
That's right, yeah, that's right.
How do you want to be more ignorant of the situation? I want the story. If you tell me they're motivated by video game playing with each other, or Colorado, they have a thing on Coach Prime. Those guys were going paintballing together. All right, that's part of the story as to why they came together.
But they would never, ever omit that part, or paintball, or video games.
And good for ESPN for not doing it either.
Absolutely, man.
Good for Scott Van Pelt, who
could this be the pivot? Could this be the change to bring people back to ESPN because they don't omit stories anymore?
Why not? And this has to start from Disney on down. That when you start integrating that sort of freedom within your content, your storytelling, then I think it filters throughout the entirety of the organization. They'll allow Tom Rinaldi, back when he worked there and now working over at Fox, if he had some faith-based story, they let him tell it. But it was very limited in how and where they would let you tell that story.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
And it was, by the way, oftentimes on College Game Day, college football fans, traditionally a little more conservative. Yes.
Yeah. And it's showing up again. Look, I used to love ESPN. And I fell out of love with them, and have for many years. I used to love Coca-Cola, and I fell out of love with them. I used to love all kinds of things that I don't love anymore because they just don't represent who I am anymore. Could they earn me back? Could they earn you back? That's certainly their goal if they want to make money. That's certainly their goal. Let's see how long it lasts. Good for ESPN. I applaud them for allowing that conversation to be had. That'll do it for us. We're going to turn this thing over to the Glenn Beck program, then Clay and Buck, and the local afternoon show with the Kimmer, Pete and Flounder, for Rhino, for Los, from Board Op Goey Virgin River, the captain of the ship. My name is Tug. Y'all come back now, you hear?
Hey, it's Flounder, and the Kimmer Show is live every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m.
There's anything that personifies the narcissistic nature of these people, and I'm saying these people, that they want to be known as like the royal we. I am so